Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Max's Man Cave. This is a special 50th episode edition of the show. We don't have anything like dancing or drinking or anything like that going on tonight, but we still have...
Boo!
I know all my panelists and all of you in chat are upset about that. However, I'm still having to recover from my birthday stream, which is only a month ago. So you'll have to excuse me. Yeah, it was brutal, man.
The fact that you're here after your birthday stream, I think that we can all say safely that you went through the fiery ritual of carousel and you have been renewed.
Oh, well, thank you. It feels like I've risen like the phoenix from the ashes or from the puke-ridden carpet. So, whichever one feels more appropriate.
Is Gideon looking at you the next day like...
He's just like, I'm so ashamed of you, Dad.
Disappointment was so powerful.
Yeah. I could see him shaking his head just, and then he'd walk away. No, it was seriously such a pleasure to do that show with you guys. I had such a fun time, and tonight is no different. I always have a fun time with you guys whenever we get to hang out and do these streams. So tonight on the 50th episode, we've just got some more recent news, like some ISOM news that's been coming out, but then also just some like fun topics that I wanted to get into, like who is our favorite MCU characters. What is going on in terms of Hollywood and some of the clips that are being shown like in some of these films and what we can take from that creatively and stuff like that. So we'll talk about that later. But yeah, let's just go around the room and say hi to everyone. Aaron, it's been a while since you've been on the show. Well, technically it's been a while since I've been on my own show. So it's glad to have you guys back.
Back.
Yeah,
we were giving you a hard time. You'd be like, okay, no Max's Man stream tonight. We were like, oh, come on, Max. Where's the consistency? What's going on? People out there, you're letting them down.
You guys keep me accountable. That's good. I like it because I need to. Josh has been more consistent with his YouTube channel than I have been. So
and he's had work interfere.
I know, and he's got a full-time job. So I just have dumb school. But yeah, it's good to have you back on, brother. Anything new with you? Anything fun going on?
No, I mean, just much the same. Just I'm going to be dropping some new stuff from Renzo this week. We're going to be showing off some new character designs for Kneel Before Doomface. I'm also probably going to start dropping some stuff from the Catfight series that I'm working on. I've got some art to show off. So nothing that's too plot spoilery, but got some good artwork to show off, and just cheesing stuff this week.
Cool, man. I can't wait. Yeah, that Catfight series. Oh, I've been waiting for that for a while, so I'm excited. And hello to everyone in the chat. It is great to see y'all. Mountain Mud, it looks like you changed your name. Not your avatar, but your name. Good to see you again, though. Everyone here is doing well. Josh, how are you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. We're getting rain right now, and we haven't had rain for like
really
2.5 months, maybe. And we've been in 100+ degree weather for about 3 to 4 weeks now. So I'm like,
thank the Lord.
Yeah, is it just going to be humid now? Like it's still going to be 100+ degrees, but now
it's still going to be 100+ degrees. It's still going to be humid, but like everything is burnt to a crisp around here. So I'll take the hit. I'll take the hit of humidity.
Where do you live? Galveston, Texas?
No, I'm in East Texas.
Well, that's actually, it's funny that you say that because that's actually what happened with us with, what was it, Hurricane Hillary or whatever it was called for us, Aaron. And
just so you guys know, every death caused by Hurricane Hillary has been ruled a suicide, so it's all good.
Thank you.
So Kyle and our parents are out there right now, and they said it was fine. They said it was just a bunch of rain. They said, I don't know what the hell the media is talking about. They said it's okay.
No, it was just like a winter rain, except during the summer. That was it. It was no big deal.
It was so funny, but because like I was watching on the news and I was like, I really don't know if this is going to be anything that crazy. And they're like, it's going to be the biggest thing since like we better watch it. And I was like, okay, well, let's see. And sure enough, it rained one day. And then the next day was beautiful. Like Monday, I think it was like sunny and, 80. And I was like, oh, all right. Well,
it was gorgeous. It was really nice. It was the best hurricane I've ever been through. Just a
true.
Nice, nice refreshing of everything. Washed all the feces off the sidewalks of Los Angeles and San Francisco. So, But fortunately, our extremely large and growing homeless population got right back out there, started pooping on the streets again, just making sure to restore everything back. That we can rebuild everybody.
I was going to say, Aaron, I feel like it might take an entire flood to get the fecal matter out of LA and San Francisco. Like it'll take all of the ocean to wash over California.
Well, hey, our governor wants to run for president, and that's his vision for America.
Gosh.
No.
It's what is it? A chicken in every pot, poop on every sidewalk.
Not to completely go down a rabbit hole, but my two favorite things from Hurricane Hillary was the lead up to it and the local news interview that they had with the girl where she was like, yeah, I don't know, I'm just nervous, I'm not really worried about the hurricane itself. I'm just afraid they're going to tell us that we need to evaporate, and I don't want to have to evaporate.
No.
Yeah. And the second was a video that for about a day circulated on Twitter of people being like, yo, Hurricane Hillary's so bad. And they had footage of one of the subways flooding. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, that is Universal Studios, and that is the Studios tour ride.
Stop. They did not show that. That's
they
amazing.
did.
Where Jaws comes out and you're like, oh yeah.
No, it's the one where you go into the subway on the Studio Tours ride and they flood it.
Okay.
They used it in Bones, the TV show Bones. Yeah,
that's right. Because on that Studio Tours ride, I think you do go through a couple of those different sets, and one of them is that fake Jaws one or whatever.
Yes.
Scott, I'm old enough to remember when you would go through the Battlestar Galactica area, and there was a bunch of Cylons.
That's
cool. Then Starbuck would come in and get into a big laser fight with the Cylons. There were lasers flying all over, and one of them would get split in half, he just straight up just,
that's awesome.
It was super cool. I hate the fact that it's gone.
Yeah, such a bummer. Now, Drew, how are you doing? It looks like you just changed your camera. As long as you can hear us, that's good.
Yes, I was telling them beforehand that I was effing around and I found out, with electronics in this laptop. But fortunately, I got the new camera hooked up and everything. So hopefully you guys can hear me loud and clear.
Oh, I can hear you loud and clear. They're super loud.
Okay.
I like that Drew's coming to us from the Haunted Mansion.
I know, right?
Ooh. The newest one? Did anyone ever see that new?
No.
With Danny DeVito?
That came out? That was released?
Yeah,
I know, right?
3 weeks
ago.
ago.
It was Disney's what, 9th flop this year? 8th flop?
Pretty much.
Flop?
Go for that baker's dozen.
Well, we still got the
way.
Marvels on the horizon, so.
Oh gosh. Yeah, don't even get me started on the Marvels. At this point, I was talking to Wes on the Saturday show because we were talking about that. And they don't have anything to blame it on. If this movie fails, there is zero for them. You can't do the lockdowns. You can't do the Hurricane Hillary. You can't do, Dune beat us out at the box office. It is solely on them. So
early Christmas shopping, Max. Early Christmas shopping. So they're going to blame it on.
Ooh.
Yeah, and they couldn't bring the stars out to do interviews. I mean, come on, that's clearly why.
You don't think that the strike's going to be resolved by then, Josh?
We'll see. For the writers, absolutely not. Actors, maybe.
I think the writers are going to next year. I think there's just they're going to close out the year with no deal.
Yeah, they went back to negotiations this week, and then the producers pretty much came to the table and said, "Okay, here's our negotiations for y'all," and they presented it forward, and the writers came back and were like, "Well, we're not happy with A, B, and C," and they're like, "Oh no, this is our best and final. Take it or leave it."
What was the offer? I saw something where it was $11,000 a week, but there's no minimum on the writers room staff or something like that. I didn't really look into the whole thing, but
I would say they definitely gave raises across the board. They did give some minimums for some people. It's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of just kind of things knocking through there.
Okay. So, Josh, real quick, I don't live in California. Could one live off of $11,000 a week in California?
Yeah.
Easily. But
here's the thing. It depends on what they're saying is it's we don't get steady. It's a gig thing. So maybe you're working for 6 weeks, but it's still really tough to get most Californians, much less most Americans, sympathetic to. All right, you worked 6 weeks and you made $60,000. Like, then, you know, what you do is you go on to your next gig. You know, like 60 grand could carry you for a whole year as long as you're not like right in the heart of LA.
And that's why Chris Gore always says that he has had to, and what he's tried to preach to other, you know, younger talent within Hollywood is live beneath your means. So if you know that you are going to be paid for work, that you'll only be working 6 weeks out of the year, maybe, you know, 6 months out of the year, whatever it is, that you kind of have to, you know, whatever money you get, you have to act like that is the only money you have, right? You can't be spending it on new cars and new houses thinking, I'm going to wait till I'm getting my next gig tomorrow. And it's like, ugh, that's a brutal way to live in LA. So
you know how
you
long
never
I
know.
could make 60 grand last if I had to? How long I could stretch that out?
Oh, absolutely.
I could conceivably get 2 years out of 60 grand.
Yeah.
Max is over here saying, you know, new cars and new houses. More like, you know, going to the bars in Hollywood and being like, hey, $15 beer is not a problem. Oh, hey, I'm buying shots for everybody because I'm a writer.
It just says more about their spending habits than anything else.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Look, that's not even a writer thing. That's unfortunately an American and generational thing right now. Sadly,
Yeah. Well, no, you look at what's that kid XQC? He's the kid who just got the $100 million deal with Kick. He's brain rotted to the core. I mean, the guy has. I think that why these young kids like him is because he's got some charisma and he's just kind of a goofball. He plays video games and he reacts to dumb stuff. But like, this dude is making $100 million a year. He wears T-shirts that are as much as my mortgage. You know what I mean? Like as much as I'm paying my rent every single month. He's got T-shirts on that he's like spilling mustard on and stuff. Like some of these people that have too much money just spend it on shit that they do not need, and it's just a flex for them. So it's very odd, but some of the spending habits that people have. But hey, if you know, Josh, if you want to go to those bars and start dropping, you know, money and drinks for everyone, I don't know.
I'll pass.
So
I'm good.
I'll pass.
You know, we're talking about this. What's the actor? It's the black guy. He usually dresses up in like dresses. He's on the TV show Pose. Hold on.
Billy Porter.
Yes.
The only reason I know that because he was out there crying recently about having
crying about how he's losing his house because of this. And I'm like, dude, if you're already losing your house because of this, you made really stupid decisions with your money. Because not only are you an actor that's like, you know, an award-nominated actor at this point, but you're on a television series that's had more than one season. You're also a writer for it. You're also a producer for it. Like, you're getting good paychecks.
Yeah.
What show is he a part of? Because I know nothing about him except that he wears dresses and that he was
Come on, Aaron. He was Tinkerbell. Come on.
Wait,
he
he was?
like that.
No, he was the fairy godmother. He was the fairy.
Oh, thank you. Yes, thank you.
The fairy god person.
Yeah,
The fairy god they them.
He's the lead on the TV show Pose. He's also been involved with American Horror Story. Like, he's had plenty of work over the past couple of years. There's no reason he should be without a home.
Yeah. Well, hopefully the writers
sell like a $5 million home. Oh, I had to sell
Probably.
a $5 million home, and
probably.
You know, I only had $2 million equity in it, so I only have $2 million in the bank. Boo-hoo, what was me? That's you know, like, look, hey, I'm sympathetic to anybody who's like, hey, we'd like to get paid better. We'd like when things are successful, we'd like a bigger slice of the pie. You know, obviously, you know, as a writer, I want to be paid as much as possible. You know, just like anybody else wants to be paid as much as possible in their job. So I'm not unsympathetic, and there's definitely some things that they're fighting for that I completely agree with, like, you know, some of the like especially the actors, that whole thing about the AI being able to scan their face, pay them once, and then use their face for the rest of the eternity. I think that's freaking ridiculous. But it's really hard when you have millions of dollars in the bank to get people on your side, to get them to feel sorry for you, because most Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. And, you know, don't tell me, Billy Porter, that, you know, you're living paycheck to paycheck. If you were living paycheck to paycheck, you were living way beyond your means.
Oh, yeah.
The biggest, the people that this hurts more so, and these are the people that it sucks for, and I feel the worst for, are all the people behind the scenes that you don't see, where all these people, you got, who's the insufferable empty-headed bimbo who is playing Snow White.
Rachel
That everyone, who's just
that like
everyone's
every YouTube video is about right now because it's
100%. Yes. Well, she's out there going, if I have to stand in a dress for 18 hours a day or something, then I deserve to be. And these dudes who are doing lighting or gaff work or, any other job behind the camera are just looking at her going like, you ungrateful bint. How are you this dense? You know what I mean? So, and because no one recognizes the job that they do behind the scenes. And those guys are working their ass off, even when the cameras are gone, even when the actors are back in their vans or their whatever you call them, trailers. Thank you.
Hi there, little boy. You want some candy?
I mean, Hollywood these days, it's not far off. They may be in a van,
that's
actually.
true.
When they go back to their trailer, these guys are working their ass off. So that's why I feel bad for
and they
those
don't
guys.
get residuals. They don't get royalties. Like,
Nope.
that's another thing that's really hard for, when she says something like that, like, I deserve to be paid for every minute that it's streamed on. Well, if my carpenter builds me a really nice dinner table, do I have to pay him a residual every time I use that dinner table? Like, you made something, you got paid.
Right. Yeah.
Like residuals are that's gravy on top. So like, it's most people don't enjoy that. They don't get that kind of thing. Even as an animation writer, I don't get any residuals off of that. Greg Weisman is a showrunner. He doesn't get any residuals. It's only when he acts in one of the animated shows, when he plays a character, that he sees any residuals at all. So there's a lot of jobs even within Hollywood that don't get residuals. So and most Americans will never see anything like that. So again, it's really tough to get people to sympathize. And this strike has been completely different than the previous one, where people kind of generally, hey, we want our shows back. We want you guys to resolve this. We want to get things going again. Hollywood has shot itself in the foot so much and soured people on it, and soured people on the cinema, and soured people on TV shows, and and the quality of writing that we're getting, that there's no sympathy out there on the streets. There's just none for the actors or the writers.
Yeah, it's been bad considering that. Here, let me see if I can pull this up.
I might feel like
it's been bad considering considering that every time that we've had any type of criticism or any time we've seen a film and we've said, this isn't up to the standard that we're looking for, or nobody asked for this, or a film doesn't do well or whatnot, we're the ones who get blamed. And that was on the production companies, and that was on the big corporations. That was on them because they're the ones that started that whole thing of pointing the finger at the fans. It's not our fault; it's your fault. And that's why, like you said, Aaron, a lot of people don't have the sympathy. And I think Nadia brought it up too. Is they would have a lot more support if they were more sympathetic or empathetic to the fans, saying, hey, we just want to entertain y'all. That's all we want to do. Mm-hmm. And yet they couldn't have that type of humility, If
they had a more Tom Cruise approach to the fandoms, then they'd have the fandoms on their side. But unfortunately, you see people out there acting like Rachel Zegler, and it just kills any sympathy that people have for them. I think the worst person out there who's just not gaining any fans is the Adam Conover, trying to make himself the face of the writer's strike. And he's just out there being so obnoxious and like, let's run over to the studio and make sure we disrupt everything, because they're shooting in there right now, and going over and just, it's like, number one, how many studios are going to want to work with you after that? Like, I'm sure that studio, I'm sure you're already you're already on their blacklist. Like,
dude.
You can strike, and when you're in a union and you feel like you need to, you probably should. But you still have to go back and work with those people after the fact. So there is a certain level of decorum, I think, that needs to be observed.
Yep,
absolutely. Drew, I'm so sorry, man. Did I think I interrupted your introduction because we started talking about Hollywood. But yeah, what do you have coming up? Is there anything that you wanted to talk about before we get into more of this Hollywood cringe that we've been seeing?
I may or may not be working on the next chapter of Born of Blood. I may or may not have submitted a second draft earlier today to a certain editor.
Oh,
all right. I have got to check my emails.
I went to the other guy. Went to the other.
The other guy.
Very well.
So you're saying you don't Aaron.
No.
Okay.
Well, so
That's
Max,
what I heard.
Max will
Here you
understand
go,
this.
Aaron.
There's a chain of command here. There's a chain of command. Joe's next,
Okay.
then Aaron. I don't want to jump Joe to Aaron, and Joe's like, "Why the hell did you not tell me you sent it to Aaron?" It's like, no, Max, you know how it works. Come on.
Fair.
Yeah, no, Joe
fair.
Joe reads through it, gives me his notes, kicks it up to me, asks what I think, then we go over it. That's pretty much how it works, because Joe's lead editor on that. And then I'm just coming in for like, hey, does this contradict or does it support things that we're plotting out in the future, that things that we want to do, and so that's where I come in. This is just kind of like the overall creative lead. But
I love that, man. Yeah, and that's what and we'll talk about this later on in the stream, but I think that's what a lot of these crowdfunding books could use. They need 2 editors.
Yeah.
They need one guy doing just like interior work in terms of grammar. Does the sentence structure make sense? Does the plot make sense? And they need another guy, maybe an overarching guy, who's looking at the grander, greater picture, saying, does this continuity fit within our universe or within our storyline? That would make these books exponentially better. But I don't want to get too, we'll, like I said,
I've offered
we'll talk about
on
that.
more than one occasion to help people with crowdfunded books, and for a very, very reasonable editorial fee. I've offered to help them kind of shape those books. I'm actually working on a really great independent book right now called Brotherhood of the Wolf. It's by I'm working with the team with Wes, the writer, and not Wes from Thinking Critical.
Because
yeah, and actually Aurelio Mazzara, who drew Born of Blood, is working on that on the art.
You stole Aurelio from me? What's going on?
I didn't steal him. We're supplementing him. He needed something right off of the back of Born of Blood, and
supplementing.
He was perfect for this title. It's a period piece. It's set during the Crusades, and it's a horror story. So it's really coming together. And Aurelio's doing some of the most beautiful work of his career.
Yes.
Andrew Dalhouse is on board to color it. So it's just gonna look absolutely fantastic, I think, when we start showing it off. I'm really excited for people to see it. But again, that's one of those things. I'll tell you what's funny. Here's the funny story about that. So Wes is Muslim, and so he was at a comic convention, and he went to G. Willow Wilson, and he said, "I was just curious. I want to start a comic book. I was wondering if what first steps should I take?" And she said, "Well, you should hire an editor to help you out." And he said, "Oh, can you recommend anybody?" And she said, Heather Ontos is very good.
Oh no!
so Wes went online, and he searched Heather Ontos.
Oh
and
no!
He found a video, Thinking Critical, Wes and I talking about some of the stuff from Heather Ontos.
Her shenanigans.
And that's how he found out about me, and that's why he contacted me for the job.
Wow!
So
what a story!
Yeah, thank you for
thank you,
the
Wes from
recommendation.
Thinking Critical.
And,
wow!
Wes's
So he
channel.
probably watched that video and was like, "Fuck no, I'm not working with this woman." But you know who I am gonna reach out to? Oh, I love it, man. That was a great story.
So yeah, if anybody in crowdfunding, like I offered for Starblades when I saw the art for that, I was like, I bet I could recommend some really cool story ideas for this and help out. Never heard back. I've offered to a couple of different independent people. If Eric July called me tomorrow and said, "Hey, do you want to help me with the Rippaverse?" I'm for hire. I'll work. I don't have any of these weird little clicks. I'll work with anybody who wants to make their book better.
And I will say, with all the love in my heart and with all the goodwill that I want to bring to Eric and his team, I think he could definitely use an editor.
I second that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people would say that after reading ISOM 2 and well, honestly, ISOM 1 and 2. I think Eric would definitely benefit from an editor. And some new artists, some new artist talent that could be brought
Max,
into that.
I know we're going to talk about it later, but if you watch some of these live streams that he's on, the amount of people just kissing up to him, telling him how great it is, it's just like he's not going to get that help if that keeps up.
I would say he probably is though, because he's bringing people in to do some writing for that universe that are like, he's got Chuck Dixon coming in.
Yes, I'm looking forward to Alpha Core. Yeah, I can't wait for that.
You can
Right.
learn so much from Chuck just from even just going to his website.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like you can pick up so much from Chuck.
And I think Chuck is sound enough to know that even he needs that from time to time, and he's going to bounce stuff off people, and he's probably going to recommend people. So I'll be curious to see what happens in the future. But yeah.
Because I mean, we really do have to think about this is his debut. You know, these first 2 issues are his debut into comics, and it's really difficult to have done this all by yourself, single-handedly, fund it, pretty much fund it, produce it, write it, get all these people together, and be the owner and manager of all this stuff at the same time. So it's a tough job, but I love what they're doing over there. I think what they are doing in terms of creating this new universe and starting their own company, it just shows like what can happen when you bring the level of passion and tenacity to a project, you know. But we'll see what happens when we get some new talent on there, because I think we could get some beautiful stuff. Let me say hi to Psychotic Mongoose. I love that name. It's so awesome. It's like John Campea when he goes, "I love that name." Cajun Corey, what's up, Cajun? Good to see you, man.
What name was that when John Campea said that, Max?
I could say it here, but you guys would never see me on YouTube again. So, good day to you, Ben. Thanks for being here, brother. Hope all is well with you. And Nadia, our lovely Nadia, shrimping in the chat as always. She says, I 100% support ISOM, especially as an independent organization. It's not for me, doesn't mean I won't stop supporting them. And you know what? I think that's totally fair. And I think Eric and the team would also understand that criticism. And I think what happens, though, is as we've seen, with some of the stuff with the lawsuit we'll get into, Twitter can be super toxic and can be just one big dog pile. So if one person has one criticism or one troll comes out saying this thing, it becomes an entire, mass of people, which can be really scary. So,
and he's been crazy financially successful with ISOM,
yes.
And that's gonna bring haters out of the woodwork. It's gonna bring out people that can't make money, that don't have the wherewithal, that don't have the work ethic. The quality of the book aside, it's been a phenomenal success financially, as far as the support goes. While the book might not be for you at the moment, maybe as Eric continues and he develops as a writer, maybe the book will become for you. It's just one of those things. So if you're still supporting it, may eventually hit a point where you're like, you know what, I'm actually liking where this is going. Especially the more direction he gets from guys like Chuck Dixon and people who have been doing it, and have so much experience that he can draw on.
And who knows? Maybe that Yaira book is going to hit female audiences and just crush it. But sorry, go ahead, Josh. I cut you off.
Just a couple of things. One, speaking of creatives, we do have Frank Senka in the chat. So hello, Frank. How are you?
Hey,
hey,
Frank. What's up, brother?
Frank,
but
how come Frank doesn't come on?
If he wants to, he's going to see some cringe in a second here when we go over some Hollywood stuff. So, Frank, if you want to, let me know. But
what I was going to say too is I think some of the arguments that I've seen about why are you supporting ISOM when it's not that good, but you won't support other books that aren't that good. I think there's the intention becomes like a topic of conversation there. I think you've got someone like Eric who's wanting to create other options, and he's open to sourcing out people to try to make things better. Even though he's not speaking to it, I think he's aware. But you don't want to go around, if you're the name in the face, you clearly don't want to go around being like, oh yeah, it's okay. You want to promote it. But
just because people don't like it doesn't mean, because you'll get this a lot of times, Josh, and I'm sure you've seen this plenty of times, is people will come and they'll be like, hey, I didn't enjoy this, and I didn't enjoy this part of it, and I didn't enjoy this, and you're like, okay, and you can take that criticism.
Yep.
And then some people will try to push it to get you to the point to like where you don't like it.
Right.
And it's like, well, you're not going to convince me that I didn't like what I was doing. You can maybe give me, some critiques, and I'll consider them in the future as I continue to do it. But don't try to convince me that I hate it.
Oh yeah. Well, and I was going to say the opposition to that is so many of the writers that we have at the Big Two that are just like convinced they are the best thing ever and writing the best thing ever. So that's.
You mean like Jedzia Axelrod?
Hi, my name's Jadzia Axelrod.
I am Jadzia.
You mean You mean T. Franklin?
Yeah. Right?
Don't sleep on her talent, Big Two. You saw that tweet. Don't do it.
Don't sleep on me.
Megan Fitzmartin.
Sleep.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Any of the Stephanies that all I see like a big amorphous Stephanie blob.
I promise I'm rubbing my eyes right now, guys. I promise.
Oh yeah, no,
No.
definitely not.
Again, I just want to say, there's always the opportunity for these writers to improve and for these writers to get good.
Sure.
Unfortunately, there's nobody there to help them. We've talked about it a million times. It's like editorial is basically just pushing things through and not giving them notes, not helping them, construct their ideas, like saying, no, that idea is stupid. This idea is good. Why don't you run with this? You got a germ of something here, expand that. They're getting none of that guidance. Because it's just churning stuff out. Got to have stuff on the shelf. Doesn't matter. Got to be able to crow about, the representation that you've got behind the talent pool. It's ridiculous. So, nobody's getting the opportunity to get any better. Nobody's getting the opportunity to cut their teeth and to, hone their craft. There's no incentive to get better. It's just keep turning in the same script where people are eating and talking and milling about. Yeah, I saw Matt Moylan tweet today. There's a mutant character in the X books who shits ice cream. That's their mutant power. They can shit any flavor of ice cream.
It's about time.
I said,
it's
finally,
about time.
Finally, it's one of those situations where, if you let people come in and treat your IP and treat your characters and treat your universe as a joke, you can't be surprised when people who take that stuff seriously and who care about it walk away.
Like you say that this new kid's mutant powers that what was it? He shits something?
She shits ice cream.
Oh, sorry, excuse me. She shits ice cream. Like at this point, they're becoming a caricature of themselves, which is like they've made these caricatures of people in their own books. Example, look at the Miles Morales Thor book where he's jive talking and walking in Brooklyn and
by Odin's Fade.
By Odin's Fade, my man. And you're like, this is the most racist fucking thing I've ever read in my life. And they think it's like
stereotypical. They thought they're being very like embracing of like hip hop culture and things.
They think it's like so progressive, and it's like,
I feel bad for the writer. He got like hammered for that, and it's like that. He was handed an assignment. And that was a no-win situation. Come on.
So you've got like these caricatures in the comics, and now the industry has just become a caricature of itself that we make fun of. And now we can't even make fun of it because they're doing the things we've always made fun of them for. But now it's like there's no satire in it. They're like, oh yeah, she just shits ice cream now. What's wrong with that? And we're like,
speaking of that Miles Morales as Thor. And how stereotypical it was. There was an old one-panel cartoon in like an old What If or What The. It was What The, and it was what if Luke Cage got Thor's hammer, and Luke Cage is saying, "By the gleaming gates of funky Asgard, you suckers gonna eat hammer." And I was like, wow, that's when I was a kid, I was like, wow, that's dumb. And then they did it. They did it seriously. With no irony whatsoever. They thought that was cool. And it's like, no, they, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, this was stupid. And it's still stupid.
So hard to read. Underground says, Mark Miller's probably my favorite right now. Have y'all read Big Game? I would agree, Underground. I think Mark Miller is probably one of the better writers out there, as well as Mark Wade. I know that's blasphemous for me to say, but World's Finest, I can't deny it's fantastic. But yes, I've read Big Game and I really enjoyed it. You guys, I think, have read Big Game as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I read the first one, which was a lot of setup, but I really liked it. Some of the characters I'm not familiar with. For example, I never read the Magic Order. But I know who Nemesis is. I obviously know who the characters from Wanadar. I know who Kick-Ass is. There was a lot there that I was like, man, I gotta go read some. I gotta get some trades of some of these other series, or see if Max has them and I can borrow them. But I really like the first issue setup. I haven't read the second one yet.
Oh, you'll love issue 2. It's amazing. It's one big bloodbath. It's awesome.
Issue 2 is metal, dude. I loved issue 2.
You mean metal the way that Masters of the Universe Revelations was, according to Kevin Smith. It's metal like that.
Oh, yeah, with Tifa,
Yeah.
who looks like this. Ben says, haven't read ISOM 2 yet. Yeah. Haven't read ISOM 2 yet. I enjoyed the first issue. One of the critiques I had were the covers for number 1. I think that was an improvement this time around. I know. Yeah, I definitely think the covers are lacking. I think the art in general could use some heavy hitters. And I think that would. I'm more of an art snob, so yeah.
So look, Ethan Van Sciver did this cover. It's great he got some big names to do the covers now, but honestly, going through my Rolodex of Ethan covers, this is not his best work. This is, it's probably mid-tier Ethan Van Sciver. It's okay. You know, he's one step closer to making it better. I'll say that.
Well, it's kind of the same thing that when I was at Boom and they were doing Irredeemable, Mark Waid, and then he had Peter Krause on the interiors.
Yes.
Very workmanlike, just over the plate kind of mediocre comic book art, I thought. But then all the covers were, because the editorial had no vision of how to do anything exciting. You just had a lot of covers where the Plutonian was standing there, he was sitting in a chair, he was lifting something, he's holding the world up, he's holding up a car, he's it was just like, it was all stuff like that all the time, and it was like nothing was ever like really story specific or there was just like a lot of just really kind of like bland stuff, and I'd like to see some stuff that's more dramatic. From ISOM, I'd like some much better covers. There's plenty of cover artists out there, that do really dynamic stuff. There's guys that don't work for the big two and don't seem to care to work for the big two. So you can get people who aren't afraid and who will come in and really deliver. So I'd like to see that going forward.
Absolutely. I think those are all really, really fair criticisms, and ones that he can act on pretty like ones that he can act on like now that could probably show up in the next comic. You know what I mean? Like they could be implemented today. I mean, we see how fast he gets some of these this information and how quickly he's able to apply it. But I thought this was kind of funny. Mark says, it's symbolic. Get it? We're making crap. Any flavor you want, eat it, consume. And Brian says, I think you were exactly right. Yeah. Enjoy the slop, bigot.
Yeah, you're supposed to start crying like Ron Burgundy and going like, I'll eat it, I'll eat this shit, just while crying. That's how broken and beat down they want you when you're spending $5 on a comic book.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in a glass case of emotion. The bad man kicked Baxter off the bridge.
Milk on a hot day is a bad idea.
Yeah. I quoted that movie for years. I still think it's probably one of his best performances.
Oh, I still always say Milk was a bad choice.
Milk was a bad choice. Well, you know what else is a bad choice? Some of the decisions in writing on some of these shows. Now, I want to play a little game with you gentlemen tonight. Ooh. And I apologize for the cringe that you're about to watch because it hurts. It hurts. Chat, I'm going to put a poll right now, and I'm going to ask which one of these scenes is worse. Each one of these is a speech, a motivational or inspirational speech to rise the crowd to battle and to bring them to their feet and to fight against tyranny. And it kind of falls flat on its face. Now, Josh is our resident MCU expert. Now, did you? He's like, I'm listening. Did you see Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania?
Yeah, I've seen every Marvel. I've seen every Marvel film.
Okay,
I have not seen this a second time though.
Interesting. What were your overall thoughts? Do you remember?
Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania?
Yeah.
It is on my pile of shit tier. Along. There are only 3. Well, actually 4 now. There are only 4 Marvel properties that are on my. This is a pile of shit. And Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is one of them. Thor 4 is one. She-Hulk is one, and Secret Invasion is the 4th.
I'm gonna also throw some Captain America and the Winter Soldier on there, Josh.
Oh. Captain America and the Winter Soldier. What do you mean? You mean
I'm sorry, Falcon and the Winter
Falcon?
Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Yeah.
Look, there's enough redeeming things in Falcon and the Winter Soldier that it's not on the pile of shit list for me.
What about Eternals? Is that on the list for you?
No. Look, Eternals actually has some redeeming qualities, and on a technical level, it's filmed incredibly well.
Can I tell you something interesting about Ant-Man and Quantum Mania that happened to me the other day? It's not interesting in the film, but it's just something that... So I'm laying down to go to sleep. I've not thought about Ant-Man Quantumania since Wes and I did our review, and I'm just about to sleep, and all of a sudden I went, wait a minute. In the flashback with Janet and Kang, her mask comes on like it's made of nanotech, but she got lost in the quantum realm way back in like the 60s with Hank. I was like, how in the hell? And then I was like, am I right about this? And I actually got up and I went on Disney Plus because I was like, I'm going to obsess about it all night and not be able to fall asleep. And fast forwarded, and I was like, she's got a nanotech help. Like these hacks haven't even. Not only have they not read the comics, they haven't even watched the movies that they're supposed to be writing these characters from.
No.
And then I was just like, oh God, I just want to punch Jeff Loveness in his stupid head.
They have no clue who these characters are. If you had what's his name? The original Ant-Man, not Scott Lang, but
Hank Pym.
Yeah.
Hank Pym, thank you. You've got Hank Pym, who in the first film and the second film is like, I don't want you in this suit. It's too dangerous. I want Scott Lang to be in the suit because my daughter is too important. I love her too much for her to go through this if something were to happen. The only thing on his mind is that he wants to protect his daughter, and the suit is too important to him.
And he doesn't want his tech out there. He doesn't want his tech getting into the wrong hands.
Yes. Yeah. And then in this one, Cassie's fucking around with his suit and the Pym particles, and he's like, so Cassie, did you meet anyone fun in prison today? And I'm like, oh my God, you can't
and
do
his
that.
tech is being used everywhere.
Yes, it's being used for like all these foundations or what do you call them? All these like nonprofits and stuff like that, and which is fine, but you also have to recognize what that does to the whole universe. It's going to change everything.
Yeah, deliveries. If you're shrinking down deliveries, you've just changed entire industries. And they are never interested. They want to make these little throw out comments, just like with what's the blip or whatever, and and all these people disappeared and everything like that. But they never want to deal with the consequences of that. They just touch on it, but they never want to get into the. It's like if you can't get in to things that fundamentally change your universe on a basic level, then don't do those things. Don't write those things into it.
But it would be funny if we have a whole guy. Though, Aaron, if he likes holes, wouldn't that be funny?
That'd be really funny. Yeah. It's like, well, I mean, it is Hollywood. They do enjoy exploring holes.
This is very. But see, his
character they're not supposed to.
Yeah, he had more character development. The Flooby guy had more character development than anyone because he gets holes in the end, and he's like, "I have holes," and then like grows. Just ridiculous. Absolutely
it was so
ridiculous.
Rick and Morty. Like it was just from the what was it where all the Ant-Mans are appearing and this like you're in a probability like,
and then the Baskin Robbins one shows up and you're like,
which makes no sense whatsoever because they're all supposed to be coming from Scott in this moment.
Yes, yeah.
Every decision that he might make, and it's just one of those things that like on Rick and Morty it would work because it's just kind of like whatever.
It's meant to be chaos there,
But here, like you're establishing rules, and then you're immediately breaking those rules. And why couldn't they grow large? Why would they disintegrate and fall apart when they grow large? When the way that he got there in the first place was being large and then shrinking down. None of it makes sense, and they don't explain any of it because it's just a bunch of hack writing. Just write it as you go and never think about the consequences. Just wouldn't it be funny if?
Well, the sad thing too is that they would always just say, "Oh, it's just a superhero. It's just a kid's like don't take it too seriously, like it's just a superhero film." And that shit gets me so upset because if you were to take any other property, look at Batman the Animated Series, and I guarantee you none of those guys who are on that writing team or producing or directing would ever say, "Don't take this seriously. It's just a kid show." You know what I mean? And so it really speaks to the level of integrity and maturity that these writers have when they just go, don't think about it too much. It's just a kid's thing. Don't. It's
as
it's
well
not
as
a big
respect for
deal.
the characters. Yeah.
You nailed it, Drew. 100%. That is another thing that they just go, you know, it doesn't matter if we have, you know, Scott Lang or Hank Pym saying some, you know, doofy thing, because we're just doing it for our thing and it doesn't really matter. But before we show some of these clips, I have to say hello to Ideator. He says, when did Thinking Critical change its name to MVP? What are the chances Marvel postpones the Marvels again for cover of better movies? Ideator, thank you so much for the $5. That is super generous and kind of you. I am nowhere near the level of fame that Wes has on his channel, but I'm very blessed and honored to have the same guys who show up on his channel. So this is like Aficionados 2.0.
That's right.
But no, I never take his name.
Aficionados After Dark.
There we go. There we go. I like it. In terms of chances Marvel postpones, ain't gonna happen. There's no way in hell. Disney wants to get this nightmare off of their chest. They just want to release it. They just want to get it off and out in the world so that they can forget about it, which honestly most people will do. So
I mean, keep in mind, as far as Marvels goes, it's already been postponed 3 times, I think.
Exactly.
And they also have stuff that's waiting in the wings. It's mainly Disney Plus stuff, but they have projects that are finished. They're just waiting to release because they all got pushed back. So
yeah. Frank says they also forgot that Scott was lost in the quantum realm for a time before the previous movie Endgame.
Period of time. Yeah, he was gone for 5 years, but I think for him it was like 5 hours or something.
Yeah.
The other thing that they kind of just like glossed over and changed was Janet had powers in Ant-Man and the Wasp. She came back from the quantum realm and she could heal people. And then that completely got lost and abandoned. And then they went from like, hey, you know, there are benefits to the quantum realm. Let's see if we can get some matter so we can study it and see if we can use it to our advantage at the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp. To no, you can't go there. Why are you even trying to create any type of communication? It's bad. It's evil. Stop. I'm going to break this machine for no reason.
Yeah, she was super into exploring the quantum realm when she got back. Until this one, where we needed to, you know, change her motivation, and she never talked about Kang. And
right.
It's just so ridiculous how disorganized, you know, all of this became.
Oh yeah, totally. Ben says the writer for Ant-Man was Rick and Morty writer, wasn't he? I believe he did do some Rick and Morty stuff.
Yeah.
So
Jeff Loveness was a writer for Rick and Morty, and he's supposed to take over King Dynasty, but it's already been removed from that. And it looks like Michael Waldron, who is also a Rick and Morty writer, did Loki in Multiverse of Madness, and he was supposed to do in Secret Wars. He's also gone now. So,
oof.
Did you see that interview clip where he's like, I didn't really know what to do with the third act, so I just did this.
He goes, yeah, we really didn't know where we were going with the script, you know. And I was like, what does that even mean?
Yeah, this is $1 billion franchise, and you don't know where you're going. It doesn't make any sense.
Look at Star Wars.
Wow.
We're doing a trilogy, and we have no roadmap.
Oh, brutal. Well, I think I've let the chat off for too long. I haven't given you guys the cringe that you so deserve. No, I'm kidding. Chat, you never deserve this, but we shall watch it either way. Like I said, I'm gonna put this in the comments here. So I'm gonna put the poll in. Which one of these clips is worse? And you guys are gonna have to let me know. I've got 3 clips, one from Ant-Man and the Wasp, one from Rings of Power, and the other from Black Adam, which I don't know if anyone saw that one, but I unfortunately did. Oh, you did? Okay. All right.
Yep.
So here's the first clip. Oh, does it not want to play now? No, it's been it was on there for too long.
It's been too long.
Yeah. Here, I'll find it again. We'll do it live.
I might feel like it's too late. Like All we do is just lose.
Which, by the way, great way to start your inspiring speech. I know all we do is lose all the time.
But the family I've lost taught me to keep fighting. Come to the
And also, wasn't the family that you lost the one that you kept berating? Where you were like, what have you done with your life, Scott? What are you doing with your life? I'm an activist. I'm out there changing the world.
I was out there fighting for the homeless people's rights to just poop anywhere they want. I got arrested.
Thank you. Thank you. Exactly.
The tower! Fight back! I know you've been waiting. Now is the time to strike. He knows he can't take all of us.
I also keep thinking, and what you'll notice with all three of these is that all of the people that are listening to those who are speaking right now are thinking, who the fuck are you? No one, like, Cassie, no one knows who Cassie is. So they're just like, who the fuck is on this big, hologram?
Maybe they'd know if it was still the actress from Endgame and not just some swapped actress that they put who's much, much worse. The girl in Endgame was really good. Like, she sold those emotional moments.
Yeah, that was one of the Russo brothers' daughters in Endgame. And just saying, at least I think it was. I might be wrong. I might be mixing that up. But her just saying "dad" with a question mark she conveyed way more emotion than anything that whatever this actress's name is.
This actress, I've seen her in things going as far back as Bad Teacher to like Big Little Lies or whatever on HBO to this. Like, she's always conveyed just a soulless bitch. We never think she does. She's good at that.
I wonder why she worked so well.
Make the character that your big speech depends on at the end. Make them thoroughly unlikable throughout the film.
Yeah. And then the line where she goes, where Scott pulls her aside and he's like, we don't know where we are. We don't know who these people are. I have to get you back to your mom. I have to get you back to your home. And she goes, no, you don't. You just don't care. I was like, fuck off.
Wouldn't that make sense if she had stayed?
That sweet little girl from we all loved from the first two films. And then, the great performance of Russo's daughter in Endgame all led to this.
Yeah, right.
Wouldn't it make sense if she stayed? I thought she was going to stay at the end of the film in the quantum realm.
In the quantum realm?
Yeah, I thought she was going to stay. But
because she wanted to help the random refugees or whatever?
And bang the whatever warrior fighter lady person.
Oh yeah, the try-hard girl, yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly,
she's certainly interested enough in her own glorification to completely abandon her mom like that.
100%. Yeah. She I mean, honestly, the movie would have been better if she stayed there.
Yeah.
So for context, did you guys see Rings of Power either?
I've seen a lot of clips from Rings of Power.
Okay.
I watched when they dropped the first 2 episodes. I watched those and I was like out. Like I was out the first scene when they were trying to do that faux philosophical dialogue, and it's Galadriel as a child, and he's talking about the sun, and I'm like, the sun doesn't exist yet. The sun doesn't exist. It's the trees. The light comes in the trees of Alinor. I was already mad, right out of the gate.
It is
how did you get something wrong in the first scene?
It's immediate. Broken the law. Yeah. Immediately it's bad. So I'm thankful that you didn't have to watch, because this is from episode, chat, help me out, 4 or 5? I think it's 5. But this was bad. Basically, Bronwyn, who again is a nobody within this town that is broken and dingy and dirty and homeless, they are holed up in this castle defense, which is going to be attacked by one of the enemies in the show, and he's bringing this whole army of orcs, and he's going to take over the land and create Moria. And essentially, Bronwyn, who's this character here, stands up and gives this impassioned speech. And I just keep thinking, no one knows who the fuck you are. Sit down.
But she's a girl boss, clearly, and we should all listen to the girl boss.
She is a girl boss. I got to give you that. Queen Slay. So here is that. If I do interject, it's just for copyright reasons, and I don't want to play the clip in full. So here you go.
Our enemy vows to attack. In exchange for mercy, we have been ordered to abandon this tower and swear fealty to their commander. I know I'm
I always think of South Park when all the people are like rebel, 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 rebel.
Yeah.
You know, like whenever they're talking, like the production quality of this is you can just hear people just going rebel, 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 rebel.
We don't know what else
not
to
the
do.
king
Yeah, exactly.
you have awaited. But if you choose to stand with me and fight, this tower will no longer be a reminder of our frailty.
Are you a general? Do you
I
have
was about to
combat
say,
experience?
Yeah.
She goes, if you stand with me and fight, and I just keep thinking, who are you? Like these people
Yeah,
are
but I'm better to
thinking.
say is stand together and fight. Like, you know, at least
Yes.
like, you know, because they know their neighbors. They know, you know, there might be some brotherhood that, you know, like, yeah, we have to defend our, but like with me, it's like, who are you? Who are you
Yeah.
qualified to even lead a battle? Like what?
100%.
She looks like she could barely lift a pebble. I don't I see no muscle tone on her.
And you know you're gonna have that one drunk guy in the back that's like, "Hey, the town horde is gonna save it for us." Yeah.
No, there's gonna be one guy who's gonna be like, take your top off, like
Yeah.
the tavern.
Show your tits. Yeah.
It's one of those,
ECW.
it's one of those things where it's like whenever a character gives a speech, like you know, like okay, you watch a movie like Can't Buy Me Love. Max, I know you've probably never heard of it because it was probably came out before you were born.
Unfortunately, yeah.
We make jokes all the time about like, you think Max, like Joe Corallo and I all the time. You think
Mhm.
Max has seen that movie? We need to get Max to see that movie. But at the end, he gets up and he gives an impassioned speech, and then everybody starts the slow clap, and that's kind of like where the you know, not
Yeah.
another teen movie, where the whole thing comes from. and I'm like, man, in my high school, like if you got up on a table and you started to give a speech, the first thing that would have happened is like somebody would have thrown a burrito at you.
Yeah.
They hit you in the face.
Sit the
and then-
fuck down.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. So we'll see where she goes with this.
For the symbol of our strength, who will stand with me? Who among you will stand and fight? Hey!
So it's pretty bad. She looks very. I mean, she's a beautiful woman, but I will say for this setting, she looks very Hollywood because you can see kind of the lip injections and the eyebrows, and I'm like, this isn't Lord of the Rings. I'm sorry, it just doesn't look like it.
You know what it reminds me of is that who will stand and fight. It reminds me of the terrible delivery of the Danny Ramos from Terminator: Dark Fate. I'm not going to run anymore. I'm going to stand and fight. And it's delivered so badly.
I'm sorry I'm putting you guys through this. Bob Reed just says this is awful.
I feel cringe for the last time.
Also, I hate her accent. I'm sorry.
Yes,
Like,
it's
so
sad.
I can't really
Yeah.
tell what it's supposed to be. It's almost like there's like tinges of Scottish, but it's predominantly like a Cockney English.
Yeah,
You
let me.
know, my bar is my bar real quick is John Claude Van Damme from Street Fighter when he gives that speech toward the end, they're getting ready to leave. If you can't match his speech, you know, then no, don't do it. Don't.
Did I ever tell you when I saw that in theaters and he does the thing about like, you know, Bison does this and this, but we can all go home.
Yeah.
And Bison will do this and this, but we can all go home. And then he goes, you know, like, who's with me? And all the guys cheer. My brother shouted out in the theater, we're going home.
Love it. I love it.
So good.
But yeah, you're right. This accent does seem odd. It seems
It's an
way
accent?
too. I know it seems way too forced. Listen to strength. It's spelled like STRENGHGHTH. You know, it's
Yeah.
strength.
Just like
Strength.
strength.
To be a reminder of our frailty, but a symbol of our strength. Who will stand with me?
Who
Who
will stand
among
with
you
me?
will stand and fight?
Who will stand with me?
Hey.
Governor. It's like
She's
a
talking
mixture
like she doesn't
of
have any
posh,
teeth.
but also
Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
it's
right?
like posh, but like also Cockney. Like, it's,
Well,
yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like when she says frailty, it almost sounds like Irish or Scottish. There's like a twang in there that would kind of go either way.
frailty.
But the
Yeah.
rest of it, it's literally like a Cockney accent, and it reminds me of what I'd hear actors do when they're playing the nurse in Romeo and Juliet. Like, are they 14 on my teeth? She's not 14.
Say that one more time again, Josh. That was amazing.
I lay 14 on my teeth. She's not 14. That's an actual line from Romeo and Juliet, by the way. And the nurse says it.
You
about
are our
Juliet's
resident
with some
thespian.
Shakespeare.
I love it.
So in case you're wondering, Juliet's 13 in Romeo and Juliet.
Rachel says, Max, pause on the long shot of the crowd. I want to see the copy paste people again. Oh yeah.
Rachel got right to the chase too. She was like, Bronwyn sucks.
Yeah, right. It's just Roman sucks. Rachel, I agree with all this. However, I don't have that that clip, but yeah, if you go on Twitter, you can find it. It's basically they just photoshopped groups of people, and it's not even that big of a crowd. Like they could have gotten like 100 extras for the day.
They would have had to make costumes for that. They only have $1 billion for this show. This show only had like what, 30 million an episode.
I swear it was I swear it was like a offshore shell company that this was some sort of divisive plan to, because there's no way that $1 billion went into this show. There's just absolutely no way.
No, there was a lot of I mean, just the catering alone must have taken up most of that budget because it's not on the screen. Like there's occasionally a shot where you go, oh, that looks really good, but like overall,
yeah.
Yeah, that
and
was
most of
craft
it,
services. That was Ruth Chris services. That was Ruth Chris services.
It was Sodexo, all the military Sodexo people. So this one, and surprisingly, this might actually be my pick. Bronwyn is super cringe, Cassie is super cringe, but I saw Black Adam in the theaters, and I remember physically doing this. Just oh no,
DDP.
Yeah, he's like showing the diamond. So I don't know, Chad, if you guys have seen this, but this is at the end of Black Adam where he finally finds his strength, and the people of Kandar find their strength as well, and so they have to come together to fight off these zombie things. It's very odd.
Nameless, faceless CGI army.
100%. Yes, you hit the nail on the head. And so, who is their savior? This kid who can't really emote. So you guys will notice a very, very significant ADR because he's not able to get there. You know what I mean? He's not able to say "Hey, everyone!" really scream. So the ADR is just him in a sound booth, just going, "Hey, everyone!" So I'm not picking on the kid. I'm picking on the casting director, and I'm picking on the actual director who couldn't get him there. You know what I mean? So this is Black Adam, and this is that one kid who I don't know his name. Gosh dang it. No. Right as we were going to
now I will say while you're trying to get that ready to go, to me, my favorite, most concise speech of all time is Rodney Dangerfield from Caddyshack. Hey everybody, we're all gonna get laid.
I might feel like
What? Wait, sorry. Say that one. What does he say?
That's the most inspirational. It's short and to the point.
Yes, it's Rodney Dangerfield from Caddyshack. Hey everybody, we're all gonna get laid.
Oh, that's I'd listen to that speech. Yeah.
I mean, that's the kind of speech that makes you go, huh? What? What?
Yeah.
We are? All of us? Okay.
Hey, what are you all standing around for? This is our chance. With these hands, we build Honda. And with these hands, we will set it free.
He doesn't even sound like he's loud enough for anybody to hear him. What?
Exactly. So it's he starts off and he's like, hey everyone. And everyone's supposed to hear him in this apocalyptic, and just they all go, oh, it's him, and you're like, who again is this kid, this random kid? And he's like, we built Kandar with these hands.
We built this city on rock and roll.
On rock and roll.
Let's feel the bang.
I have to play it one more time just for cringe's sake. It's pretty bad.
Hey, what are you all standing around for?
If some kid were to go, hey, what are you all standing around for? As dead people, I'm literally carrying dead family members and zombies are attacking us. I'm gonna be like, kid, shut the fuck
Yeah.
up. Get inside, find
Yeah.
some cover. Like you should not be here. Like, look
What
at
do
that is chaos. Like you're looking at there's fire and death
Yeah,
everywhere.
people in rubble, they're being saved. It's ridiculous.
Yes.
Who
Yeah.
is he to these people? Like, do they know? Is he like a big deal? Like, is he the prince? Like everybody knows him? Who is
He's
Right,
got a
yeah,
red
like-
cape on, Aaron. He's got a red
Is-
cape. All right.
Is he royalty? Like, how does he play into Kandar?
He has a red
They're
cape
gonna-
on, Max.
He has a red cape. They're gonna turn and they're gonna go, "Hey, is that James Gunn's recast Superman?"
Oh, very
We can
close.
listen to
yeah.
him.
He's young enough,
The one that
apparently.
needed to be
'cause,
young,
yeah.
but we're not doing a young Superman movie, and we just wanted to fire Henry Cavill.
Oh boy.
This is our chance.
Yeah.
With these hands, we build Kandar. And with these hands, we will set it free.
So you get what I'm
What?
saying when
What?
Ah.
My
what
hearing,
was that?
I mean, a lot of rubble came down, and it cut my hearing.
What are you doing? Kid, are you trying to do a wrestling move? Get out of the
Yeah,
fucking way.
I know
5
The
people
Rock
died.
is-
We gotta get our attention.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying to dig my family members out of this rubble. Were you saying something? What?
Yeah. Kid, if you're not gonna help, just get off come down from there. Oh gosh dang it. That shit is so funny to me.
I just
Oh,
love that
wow.
He's calling for the diamond cutter, man. He's-
Yeah. So that's actually pretty surprising. Chat, you guys are crazy. So on our vote, on our poll here, Cassie was winning by a large margin. Then Bronwyn was winning, and now the one kid is winning 45%
Wow.
to the other two, to Cassie and Bronwyn. That's pretty wow. I thought it was going to be closer than that, but man, that's so funny.
Now
So, yeah.
compare that to, any of the battle speeches in Lord of the Rings,
Oh.
and the real Lord of the Rings, not this
Any of
power
them.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a red day. Just
Oh.
any of that.
Screaming death, and then the camera pans over and you see all the horses, and some of them didn't even need speeches. You have like Faramir, who just goes, "As you wish, father," and just rides out, and it's quiet, and you're just listening to Pippin's song. Faramir doesn't even need a speech, and he's just going into battle, like stuff like that, where it just gives you chills. Bronwyn is the worst character, but that kid couldn't even speak. I think that was what, like, the director needed him to be like, "Hey, kid, you got to give me everything you got right now. This is just start screaming, right?" And I just picture him in the sound
go
booth,
team.
just being, "Hey, everyone."
It's like when
It's
Eddie
like-
Izzard talks about David Prowse being, like doing the voice of Darth Vader on set, not knowing that he was going to get redubbed. And he goes, it's like, he might as well come out and going, "Hey, I'm Lord Vader, so everybody pay bloody attention, all right?"
Nice.
Luke, the force is strong with you.
With you?
It's about as strong as a small pony. It's quite strong.
Is that hand gesture supposed to be a Hunger Games thing? It's supposed to be like the Kandar Black Adam symbol. Do you remember what it was, Drew?
yeah,
It
so-
was
It was the People's Army, or whatever, of Kandar.
Yeah,
or
pretty
something.
much.
Yeah.
And so
Is it Kandor or is it Kondak?
I thought it was Kandak.
Kondak.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Kandahar, like from
Yeah,
actual,
you're thinking
like,
of Kandahar. So when before he became Black Adam, he kind of helped the Rock's character as a child, helped kind of start the revolution, but this was like the symbol of the
That's
people. So
Holy shit, that one kid is now up to 54% on the poll.
Those clips are all cancer.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying, dude. They're all so bad. Yeah, just so bad. So thank you guys
You just
for.
reduced sympathy for the strike by like another 12% by showing those clips.
Yes.
We're like, actually, you know what? Keep striking. We're fine. You know,
What, more
I-
Lord of the Rings, really?
If we're going on speeches alone, though, I still think I have to go with Cassie because she's the one that's like, "We're all losers and we suck," and like,
And like, oh my god, like, don't be a dick. And whatever.
we
you know,
suck.
like, she's so brain dead. Like, it's just, so that kid, the kid in Kondak, worst delivery. Cassie, just dumb as a rock.
Worst, chose the worst thing to say. Whereas, the kid had the worst delivery, and Cassie had the worst, the actual, instead of saying, like, look, well, she does say at one point, like, we need to look out for the little guy and stuff like that.
Because I'm an activist.
Yeah, it was just right.
Yes.
Yeah.
For me, Cassie's speech reminds me of one of those like sophomores in high school that's never watched or read the news at all, that suddenly decides they want to give a class speech, and by class I mean the entire grade class, about why we should be fighting with Ukraine.
Hey, she watched someone on TikTok discuss the news. All right,
there we go.
Let's see. I'm gonna remove that guy. Yeah, that's pretty much what it was, and I think that's what the writers were going for. They wanted that like sophomore girl who's now an activist, who's like fighting for all these different, human rights for people.
Max. I think they thought that was a really impassioned speech, and that was like the best that they could do. I think that was the best that Jeff Loveness could deliver, because this is the problem with the Writers Guild, is that there's so many just LA people that have always been in LA, and it's just LA think, and they all have the same, they all have received opinions, and they all have to conform. So you don't ever get anybody in the writer's room who's really like challenging anything and going like, no, that's stupid. Like, what, we should have a character. Let's watch some of the great speeches in history from historical leaders. Let's watch it, our great speeches from our fiction. Let's, Independence Day, terrible movie. But when the president gets up and gives that speech, I'm like, I'm ready to kill some aliens. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I love that example. I think, because I'm looking at the poll again, I think the reason why Bronwyn is losing the most right now, because Cassie is at a 27, Bron was at a 20. That one kid is still at 53%. Shit, man, that one kid pulled it out at the end. But I will say, I think Bronwyn is probably the reason why people hate Bronwyn's the most. Is one, because you have to compare it to actual Lord of the Rings, and comparatively, it's like watching a high schooler do a play as opposed to a $1 billion budgeted film.
You mean the problematic Lord of the Rings, Max, that they are fixing?
Oh, the one that is bigoted and
Yes.
Exactly, yeah.
It's about time.
It's about time.
Finally.
Finally, right?
Look, I mean this with full sincerity. I've seen multiple high school performances that are better than all three of these. So.
Okay, real quick, Brian Micklick in the chat, he just made a great comment. He used to watch Animal House. John Belushi, his speech.
Ooh.
Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Hell no. Germans, forget it. He's rolling.
And
I think
too. The speech from Stripes by Bill Murray.
Yeah, my brother did that speech in high school.
You've never seen Stripes, Max?
Oh, you never seen Stripes? Oh my dude.
I'll remove myself from the stream. It's okay.
No, you'll one of my favorite bits from that is when they say, or like the draft board is like, or the guys that are signing them up to go to the military. They're like, or interview two homosexuals, and they kind of like look at each other like like that. It's like, and then he says to him, have you ever been convicted of a major crime? And they're like, well, never convicted.
Yeah.
I've decided that Max has not seen so many things that we just need to like start a Patreon and do watch-alongs, forcing match. Yeah, we're starting with Top Gun Maverick because come on.
You know what's funny is my church, and I texted you that day. My church actually was doing a sermon where they would have like a Maverick Top Gun Maverick clip, and then my pastor would come out and he'd say, so what did you guys think about the clip? Here's how it relates to scripture. Here's how we can relate it to our everyday lives. And here's, blah, blah. And he was kind of going back and forth. And it was a cool, he was basically trying to embrace culture and reality and how, art can imitate life and blah, blah. And some of the clips that he showed in Top Gun Maverick, I'm not going to lie, I was getting pretty fucking hype in church. I was like, this is cool, man. I want to see more. So
Max is in church of all places, and they play a clip, and Max is like, "Fuck yeah!" I mean,
go Maverick!
holy water, yeah.
Like the pastor comes on the stage, and I'm like, "Get off the stage, dude! Play more Maverick." No.
He's like, "You can go rent this," and you're like, "No, I'm here. I'm invested. Put it back up."
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think Discord you can do watch along. So we'll have to, do like one of these nights. We'll have to watch some of those fun movies.
Max, have you seen Gremlins and Gremlins 2?
I've only seen the first one. I haven't seen the second one.
Oh, have you seen the Key and Peele skit where they're talking about the making of Gremlins 2?
You should not watch that until you see Gremlins 2. You need to see
Yeah.
Gremlins 2 and then watch the Key and Peele skit talking about the making of Gremlins 2.
Okay.
Like, yep, yeah. Because if you just watch it, it's still funny, but it won't land.
The same effect.
Yeah.
That's fair. Jack Halsey for $9.99. Dude, thank you for the $10. I appreciate it, Jack. That is super generous. He says, best show ever. Great job, all. Thanks, Max, for a really fun show. No, thank you, Jack. Thank you, guys. It makes it more fun when we get to interact with y'all and we get to laugh at some of these things together. So I greatly appreciate it. Thank you, Jack. Dominic, so the 3 people in the poll are 3 clips that we just watched from Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, Bronwyn from The Rings of Power episode 5, and that one kid from Black Adam. And we played 3 motivational, impassioned speeches about rising up. And so that was the poll. So we were just watching those. It was pretty fun. So
Why
Dominic, if you want. Yeah.
Why are y'all standing around? What are you guys doing? Like there's stuff going on. We should probably maybe we all got together. Look at what I'm doing. I'm doing stuff with my hands. Look what I'm doing.
With these hands we built the city.
On rock and roll music.
Yeah.
Come with me to rock down to Electric Avenue. Everybody's like, what? What? Kids, speak up. What
the fuck you saying, kid? Yeah.
I've got my wife's arm right here. What?
Yeah, it's just these poor men that are just picking up their loved ones, and they're just like, "What the fuck is this kid saying?" If we can finally get Max to watch Top Gun Maverick, I'm in. All right. Well, you guys heard it here first. Brian says the next poll needs to be what movie should MVP watch? Ooh, that would be a good one.
We'd have to compile a big list. Like Joe said, you haven't seen Basketball.
True. Basketball, yep.
Oh.
Have you seen the Naked Gun movies? Have you seen Airplane?
Yes, I love Airplane. I really like Airplane. My favorite part is when the woman comes into frame and just starts bouncing and just leaves. So, yeah, I like Airplane a lot. No. Horny Alf says it was nice meeting you at the Dallas meetup. Dude, it was a pleasure meeting you. And thank you for coming into the chat and saying hi. I always love meeting people in person. That's always like one of the most fun times is getting to hang out with you guys in real life.
Should we do a SoCal meetup, Max? Like I don't know how many people we have that could come to it, but
honestly,
we're both in Southern California. We could totally do a meetup.
I think we've got a good amount of people. We've got you and me, we've got Chris Gore, we've got the whole Film Threat crew. We've got Anna, that Star Wars girl. We've got, there's someone else who was here. But yeah, no, we've got a really good crew in terms of like creators, YouTube creators that I think would be fun to do a SoCal meetup. Or even just an LA meetup. We won't have to meet in LA, but we could call it that.
Yeah, it's too much poop on the sidewalk.
You wouldn't actually be able to hang out because there's just too much feces. I am going to end the poll here. So chat, if you guys want to get your last final votes in, which one is more cringy, which one is worse, Cassie, Bronwyn, or that one kid from Black Adam? 3.
We don't even know his name.
2. No, I didn't, and I do not care to look what his name is. Sorry. But, it's just not worth the time. 3, 2, 1, and that one kid wins with 50%. Cassie coming in at a close second with 31%, and Bronwyn at the end at 18%.
Bronwyn benefited from being the prettiest.
I guess so, sure. She's the only one who's wearing...
Yeah, she gets attractive privilege. So
this is true. Women have life on easy mode that are very attractive, so... Dominic says Cassie was bad, but Osiris from Black
Osiris, that was his name. Yeah.
There's no way that's his name.
Yeah.
The portrayal Isis and Osiris and Black Adam were okay, but they didn't resemble who they are from the comics. Oh, okay. So that was probably his comic book name then.
I kept hoping that he'd get devoured by Sobek, like in New 52. Like that Sobek would just,
wouldn't that be nice?
Show
That's gonna be the
out
sequel.
here, man. Show up and eat him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Black Adam sequel is definitely coming because The Rock says the movie made money.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. It's sad when WrestleMania can make more than your film. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. So speaking of MCU, because we just watched something that was super cringe about MCU. Now I want to do something that's on a lighter note that's actually way more fun than cringe, phase 4, phase 5 MCU. And thanks to our good friend Josh McDonald from By Popped, Pop by Culture hashtag.
Okay.
He kind of brought this into my purview and was like, hey, what are my top favorite MCU characters, right? Not comic book, but like MCU. And we're talking like what? Phase 1, 2, and 3? We'll say anything before Endgame, yeah? Is that fair, Josh?
So look, I'm saying anything MCU related.
Even through the current.
Yeah.
So does this include Blade? Does this include X-Men or no?
It's got to be in the it's got to be in the MCU proper, right?
Yeah. Well, we're saying MCU proper, but people have definitions of what that is. I would say Blade, as in Wesley Snipes, has not been in the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Blade's out. Never mind.
No, does Morbius count?
Hell to the
It's Morbin time.
Even Kevin Feige's like, oh wait, what's Amy Pascal's like, yeah, it's totally in the MCU, and then Kevin Feige's sitting next to her going, no, it's not.
Ooh, wait. So does Tobey Maguire? I was gonna say, wait, does Tobey Maguire count because Tobey Maguire was in No Way Home?
Look, if they have appeared in the MCU, like literally, if anything is umbrella MCU and they've appeared in it, I would say it counts. So I included Shield characters or a Shield character, and people often say that's not MCU, and I'm like, bullshit. You've got like 20 different crossovers that are direct crossovers. So,
So does Deadpool count or no? Is that still?
I mean, since Deadpool's coming, I'd say, yeah, go ahead and use Deadpool. I'd even say use Wolverine. You've got Patrick Stewart. Like, those for sure.
Deadpool's coming.
Deadpool's coming. Oh, Spidey. Sorry.
So I thought it would be fun if, since this was your idea, Josh, and since you were kind of tweeting this out today, go ahead and give us your 4 top favorite MCU characters and give us just like a 1-sentence summary as to like why.
So my number one, these aren't really in order, but I would say my number one is probably Captain America. Steve Rogers.
Okay.
That is not. Yep. Nope. That is nope. Oh, there we go. Wow, that was a journey.
We found him.
My number one would be Cap, just because I think the morals that he stands on, this idea of what I think America used to be and what America represented, and how he still tries to show that. It's so much of who I want to be as a person and who I'd want to be as a hero. That's why he's my favorite, because he inspires me to be better. And I know this is more than a sentence, but there's a YouTube channel called High Top Films, and they have a video in there talking about why Captain America worked in these MCU films as opposed to Zack Snyder's version of Superman. And they talked about how they didn't try to change the character of Cap. They kept Cap very much the same, but put him in a different reality in terms of what he's seeing, what he's experiencing. And so instead of forcing the character to change to that reality, it's him figuring it out, embracing it, and learning how to deal with it. It's a really good video. You should check it out. But yeah, Cap was my number one. Number 2, I put Daredevil. Hoorah! To this day, I would say probably the best thing in the MCU is the Daredevil series.
It's not in the MCU though, Josh.
I mean,
Daredevil's
Charlie Cox's.
His show does not count. Anything that happens.
Does it? Does it not? Does it not? We don't know.
Wait, if Wolverine counts, then Daredevil has got to count. Because as much as I hate to say this, he was in the She-Hulk show, which I hate to say.
And that is why
that's the only version of Daredevil that exists in the MCU up until this point.
And it's still better than
That's why he's not on my list. That's why he's not on my list. I can't do it.
Look, I will say full disclosure, like when these shows were created, they were created with the intent that they are a branch of the MCU. So
it's definitely the best thing that's come out of Marvel live action.
Oh, you've got Daredevil up there, and you've got like Captain America, Winter Soldier, and perhaps like Infinity War that I think are all kind of in that crux.
God, it's so weird when we have similar tastes because you like Wakanda forever. so when you're talking and I'm like,
don't remind us.
Hold up, let him cook. It just blows my mind. So
I will reference Wakanda Forever in a second when I reference another character. But for me, I like Daredevil. I just like the, look, one of my favorite characters of all time is Huntress from DC Comics. And when they took Huntress from Helena Wayne to Helena Bertinelli, they had openly discussed that they wanted a character that was kind of an amalgam of what Daredevil represented and Punisher represented, even though that's a different publisher. So you have this character that has like the faith of Daredevil, is eventually vigilante, but also has the kind of mindset of Punisher that it's okay to kill, or you're more effective if you eliminate the bad guys. Mm-hmm. So, but Daredevil for me has always been one of my favorite characters. I think they've done him incredibly well in the Netflix series. We'll see how Disney handles him.
Yeah. Oh no! If you rewatch that first Daredevil episode, oh my god, it's brilliant. It is. You have so many different subplots going on. You're introduced to so many different characters. Even though it's only like an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, it feels like you've watched an entire like phase of one of the MCU. Like it has such great storytelling.
It's that good. And then when and like by the time I think it's maybe like episode 8, like by the time like he's fighting Nobu and and I'm just like, they're bringing in the hand, like everything is just like this is so much. And Scott Glenn is freaking perfect casting his Stick. Like there's so many great things about the show. D'Onofrio, different take on the Kingpin, but effective.
I love it.
Yeah,
dude, just smashes some guy's head in the
head off the door. Oh man, I love it.
You won't see that in fucking Disney. So
no. Never again. No.
They don't even cut off limbs with lightsabers anymore. Now, like lightsabers just get stabbed through your chest, and you just walk it off. You just walk off getting stabbed through the chest with a lightsaber.
Zaxx says Josh. So apparently Zaxx's favorite MCU character is Josh. And he just thinks Max is a big old lug. You big hunk. Well, thanks, Zaxx. Appreciate you being here. Sorry, I cut you off though, Josh. So Daredevil is excellent. Who's your third?
My third is actually a character from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and it's Leopold Fitz, otherwise known as Fitz.
You know how we were saying, like, who are you people to all the speeches that were going on earlier?
Yep.
Who the fuck is this guy?
Leopold Fitz is just a scientist who was with S.H.I.E.L.D. that got pulled onto Phil Coulson's team and had never really expected to do field work and started doing field work. But the reason he's such a great character is, and look, this is where I'm going to kind of go back to praising Joss Whedon as a writer. And a lot of people like to talk about Joss Whedon's writing as, he does that slapstick comedy, but he doesn't get the recognition for what he can do with characters and their long form arcs. And I think one of the best character arcs in television, period, is Wesley Wyndham-Pryce from the series Angel, because that character just goes through such a journey over 5 seasons that you don't tend to see that in TV shows or films. Fitz has a very similar arc. He comes in as this young, naive, like, look how bright the world is, look how much good we can do. And he's forced to deal with trauma after trauma after trauma after trauma, that he has to embrace this this darker side of himself. And you get to see him going on this journey of trying to come to terms and cope with the things that he will do to make sure he is successful or his peers are safe. But it's an incredible character. If you're not familiar with it, on Twitter, X, whatever we're calling it these days,
it's still Twitter. It'll always be Twitter.
I know, right? I do have little character clips, like edits that people have made on YouTube, and you kind of get to see a little bit of what he goes through. And a lot of his journey is tied to another character, but he loses a best friend who betrays him. He's got this will they, won't they type of relationship with a female character. He's constantly getting, I guess, looked over because people don't think he's capable, and he is more than capable. He takes a personal, I don't want to give plots away in case you decide to watch it, but he deals with some personal stuff himself that physically hinders him. So it's just a good journey. And by the end, he ends up being kind of like one of the bigger heroes because of the actions he takes, but it's still unrecognized for it. So
I made a custom action figure of Fitz for my shield team.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love it. And also he's very handsome, so that might also help with you, Josh. So
He's all right.
He and Simmons on that on that show are pretty
yeah.
great.
dude, if he's all right, I have no chance in life. Come on now.
I'll say he grew into his looks quite well. He definitely looked nerdy at the beginning. So
Okay.
Jana
Catania. Hello, Jana. She says, "Look at this panel, right? Look at these good-looking guys."
And I'm here as well.
Yeah, it's like, oh, she means us.
Yeah. And who else? Yeah, Zaxx was saying, yeah, Wesley is a fantastic character.
Oh,
so
yeah.
that's pretty good.
Angel had I think one of my favorite endings of all time of a TV series.
Oh man!
And then they ruined it by doing sequels in the comics.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Angel has one of my favorite moments in a show ever. And just to kind of give you the lore of Angel, vampires in that universe, like they cannot enter a home unless they're invited. And there's a supporting character that was kind of like a main character in the first 2 seasons, and she tries to kill herself by overdosing, and Angel saves her. And then after she's like healed and in her right mind and she comes to, they're having this talk about kind of, existentialism and do things matter or not. And she pretty much says, yes, I think things matter. And he says, how can you be so confident saying that? And she said, I never invited you in.
Ooh,
So it's this whole play on higher powers and beings. But yeah, anyways.
Yeah, but even Ben says, I need to go back and watch Angel again. It's been a minute, but I love that show.
Yeah.
Ooh, and actually, can we add Buffy to the list of shows and movies that I need to watch?
Doesn't
and Josh,
hold up.
I think
Doesn't hold up. Angel holds
doesn't hold up.
Yeah,
Angel
Buffy
holds up much better than Buffy.
Oh yeah, I do think Angel's the better show, better characters. But Buffy's good in its own respect.
Watch the Christy Swanson movie and you're all set.
No. How dare
The problem with Buffy is they have a couple of seasons where they have really great villains, but they don't maximize them to their potential. Especially the mayor arc at the end. Do you ever hear about Blade? How at the original ending, Deacon Frost turns into a big blood tornado, and they tested it with audience, and people just checked out because it wasn't the character they were invested in.
Yeah.
You are so invested in the mayor as the villain, and at the end, they basically blood tornado him, and it's like, oh, what did you do? And Buffy kind of has that problem with their villains through a couple of seasons. There's a character named Adam that's like a Frankenstein type creature that doesn't work out at the end, and even Glory to an extent. I think I did like how Glory went out because of the way that it another character has to make a choice, and I thought that was really good. But yeah, and then Dark Willow didn't pay off the way it should.
Agreed.
John Ritter played a creepy villain on that show too.
Yeah,
he played an android.
Yeah,
a cyborg in an episode.
Dominic's got a really good point here, and I think this is kind of an issue with current Hollywood trends right now, is that he basically talks about how Whedon's legacy is a double-edged sword, and I think that Whedon is a fantastic writer. I think what he does is just what he did with Avengers. I don't think will ever be seen again, or if it is, it'll be very rare to see again. And yet, so many people just pull, oh, we can write like Joss Whedon and put this funny commentary or quippy stupid thing. And
we can undercut every emotional moment with a joke.
Yeah. So that's really upsetting because he is such a great writer and does fantastic character arcs. But people
Well,
learn the wrong lessons. So
Yeah, and look, there's nothing that crazy about his character arcs. Like what he understands is cause and effect, and you don't see that in writing. But he took time to plan his seasons, and aside from like studio stepping in to want to change things or actors being like, "Hey, I don't want to do this anymore," he tried to stay true to his plan. But yeah, just it's simple cause and effect. Now, as a writer, we can let's not look at the fact that he's turning out to be a shit human being that does terrible things.
yeah, I mean, yeah. That's also
He's also hyper intelligent, and there's an episode called Restless. It's the season finale of season 4 of Buffy. But there's a breakdown of that episode and what everything means, and it's like a 45-minute breakdown of why certain characters are named certain things, what certain lines reference, what books that things are pulled from, what literature, and it just kind of going through, just being like that. Normies, or myself included, we would never get it, but then when you hear it and you understand like that's what they're pulling from, you're like, holy shit! Like this is it's so textured and layered, and we don't get that anymore. There aren't enough intelligent writers or well-versed writers to deliver that level of writing like we need to have in the industry.
Horny Elf says, has Max seen Firefly? I have, and I have also seen Serenity. Both beautiful.
Yeah, but you watched Serenity first, right? Didn't you watch aren't you the one that watched Serenity first?
I watched Serenity.
No.
I saw
okay, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was like,
you got the two.
This sci-fi movie, and I went and saw it, and then I was like, and then somebody in the audience was like, well, there's like a whole show that like led into this, and I'm like, what?
Right.
All right,
I was
Josh.
totally aware that it existed, but it just they moved it around so much, I never knew when it was on, so I never saw it.
Okay.
And I didn't know that the movie I was going to see was from the show that until someone told me, and I was like, oh, and I walked straight over to the bookstore afterwards, and they had DVDs and Blu-rays and things like that, and I bought the only season that exists
over at the Vidya store.
The Vidya store.
Thanks
for watching my Vidjas.
All right, Josh, who's your last and final pick for your MCU?
My number 4 was Scarlet Witch, and we're gonna say Scarlet Witch before she got ruined in Multiverse of Madness. And what I'll say with this is I like tragic characters, and I think she is a tragic character all the way through WandaVision. She makes bad choices in WandaVision, but she's still like suffering, right? But I think there are a lot of things here to take away. Like her life all the way up has not been good. She's kind of been used by multiple people. Some of it she put herself in the position to be used. But there's a lot of parallels that kind of get brought in terms of her and her relationship with Vision and the purity that Vision is supposed to represent, and her kind of like battling, I guess, a certain nature. But I like a lot of just in I think some of the best writing kind of comes into in terms of long form of things that happen. Like in Age of Ultron, when Vision is being created, she says the line, "I can feel him," because she can sense human thoughts. So she, that's kind of saying like the humanity. She can feel the humanity, and then later on, it gets brought up again that they're having a conversation. And he's having issues with the Mind Stone. So she does her thing, and she's like, all I can feel is you. Fast forward to when she's trying to essentially kill him so they can win, so Thanos cannot get all the stones for the Infinity Gauntlet. So as she's killing him, he says, you can never hurt me, all I feel is you. And then you fast forward to WandaVision, and she finds the just shattered pieces of his body, and she's trying to find some type of life force, some type of energy, even within the where the stone was, and she just says, I can't feel you. So I think for her it's more of an emotionally tragic story. I think she's trying to determine what being a hero is. She doesn't see herself as a hero. She does become a hero to some extent, and then I think she lets her own self-image ruin what could have been.
Well, I also think the writers ruin what could have been. That's the unfortunate thing. I think my favorite two scenes of her are one in Age of Ultron, when she kind of collapses to her knees and allows her powers to just kind of envelop the circle that they're in. Just a really powerful scene. And then also in Endgame, even though there are a lot of issues with Endgame, she just what does she say to Thanos? She goes, "You took everything from me."
Yeah,
And
and
then
he says,
"I don't even know who you are."
Yeah,
and she says, "You will."
You will.
And she gets
You
really
will.
close to beating the snot out of
She
him. Like,
fucking does, doesn't
Yeah.
she? Yeah.
He has to.
Oh.
He has to turn his have his army turn their cannons on his own on the battlefield with his own army in order to. Yeah, it's a great moment.
Oh,
Like, that
The way
should-
she delivers it, like the way that she delivers lines, even in Multiverse of Madness, which I don't like, and I don't like what they did to her. But her like Elizabeth Olsen's delivery, like she's on point in that movie.
Yeah.
Even though the movie's not good, she's spectacular. Like even when she's just doing a little bit about like, you know, that doesn't seem fair. Like just, you know, and things like that. And when she's actually scary and she's coming like all rickety, like Ring Girl style out of the like just everything that she does.
It is the ring when she's out of the mirror.
Yeah. It's just it's so well done, and I think that, you know, Elizabeth Olsen, the character, and her as an actress, that she deserves so much better than Multiverse of Madness.
Oh, 100%. Like, she should have ended. They should have left it the same, where she slowly, you know, shifted to evil in Multiverse of Madness, and then made a choice at the end that she prioritized her kids. And I
she
hate
needed
that
to be manipulated. Like you needed to have Nightmare in there.
And that's what it was supposed to be.
I love this comment wins the day. Remember when these movies were good?
Well,
yeah. Thanks, Ben.
I was going to say
do
too.
remember,
Scarlet Witch line. We're talking about, you know, decent lines of hers. There in Civil War, there's a point where Hawkeye comes to get her, to recruit her to come help, and you know, Vision's trying to stop her, and like Vision's got Clint, and he's like, "You can't overpower me," and he goes, "I can't, but she can." And then Vision tries to manipulate her by saying, "They'll never look at you as anything more than a monster if you go." And she goes, "I can't control their thoughts of me. I can only control what I think of myself."
I can't control their fear.
Oh, that's what it is.
My own.
Yeah. And I was like, "Damn, okay, that's back when we had good writing."
Were good.
Yeah.
Remember, you know, and that's the thing is like I almost don't remember, and which is why I love this segment so much, because and why, you know, I like Josh, when you tweeted this, I was like, we have to do this, because I don't remember. But when you do bring in these characters and we do start to think about, like, because I had to sit down and really think, like, who is it that I resonate with the most, or who do I think is the most heroic in this MCU you know, universe. It really is. You really have to think about it, and you have to look back at some of the older films to go, yeah, these movies actually really were good, and they had payoffs, you know, and character development and arcs, and who would have thought? She also cute, so she also got
super cute.
Never mind. Yeah, she was evil in WandaVision.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say
Josh, what do you
I would
think?
say she didn't know what she was doing in most of WandaVision.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like it was born out of grief, and she didn't realize because there is a moment where she realizes what she's actually done. And you know, I would say she wasn't in her right mind in WandaVision. Her actions were not good, and they deserved punishment. And the stupid line from Photon where she says, you know, they'll never know what you sacrificed for them. That's where it starts to go off the rails. That's where Marvel really started to lose the thread of morality that ran through most of the movies. You know, when they started to do this really warped morality where women are never wrong. You know, even when they enslave an entire town mentally. You know, like there should have been repercussions for that. And then they even have Doctor Strange do it in Multiverse of Madness. Like, but you said it right, so you know.
But
so
yeah, they'll never know what she sacrificed, Aaron. And you're like, oh, don't say that.
Mentally tortured people for months. And,
that
to
one.
the point that the old lady's like just begging, just kill us. You know.
Yes, she's like,
let us
please
die."
just kill us, just end our lives. Dominic, I 100% agree, brother. One of the tragedies in this current climate of writers and directors is that they don't treat the source materials with respect as others before them. Yeah, man, that's one of the biggest things that we see. So who wants to go next, Aaron or Drew? I have a few characters here, but just let me know which one you're going to choose, and I'll pull them up on the screen.
Well, mine's going to be super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Barely an
because
inconvenience.
Number one, I'm going to agree with Josh, and I'm going to say Cap. Cap is my boy in the comics. Cap is my boy in the movies. They really stayed true to his character. I think that his arc throughout is fantastic. You know, I got to go with God's perfect soldier, Captain America. You know, I love the way that the fact that in Age of Ultron, that's like one of the highlights for me is when Ultron says that to him, God's perfect soldier. I love when they show like the old like school values that he has when Scarlet Witch tells him that Thor and Iron Man are basically gods. And he says, there's only one God, ma'am. He doesn't dress like that. You know, it's like coming from the time frame that he came from, like, you know, I think that they really did a good job of like balancing him. And it's why I kind of like found an Endgame so disappointed when like all of a sudden he's cussing and things like that, because I'm like, Captain America would not let the culture influence him. He would always stay true to who he is. So that's why Endgame was a little disappointing. But, you know, then they also give you perfect moments in Endgame, like him picking up Thor's hammer, the fact that everyone else is down and Thanos' entire army is before him, and he just straps that shield back on, you know? And even in Infinity War, when he's like the guy that grabs the gauntlet and is trying to pry it off of Thanos, you know, it's like, these are all like perfect moments that encapsulate his character so well.
I was gonna say, stretch that shield on while his arm is broken.
Yeah. Oh, the one of the best lines was from the first Avengers film where Agent Coulson is talking to him, and he's like, "Don't you guys need something that's like not as old fashioned or something like that?" And he goes, "You know what, sir? We could use a little old fashioned." And I just it's so simple, but it really is what they needed. They needed Cap at that moment. So stuff like that, where it's just like, God, it's so well done. So that's your number one. Number two.
Number two is going to be Iron Man. It's going to be.
I don't have that, so let me get that real quick.
Tony Stank.
Yep, because he is the glue that holds all of the MCU together, and I think it's part of the reason that everything is so disjointed. Is they started with him, they ended the mainline story with him. You know, it was kind of like perfect in that sense, but also the thing that like I don't think people talk about is. I really get a sense, you know, through the writers, and maybe this is just me reading into it or putting my own kind of like, if I was writing it, like, you know, I would really kind of play it up. But I think it is there in like the subtext of the movie. He feels like a character that knows he is on borrowed time. Like he was supposed to die in that desert in the first movie. And even in the second one, he's like the arc reactor's poisoning him. You know, he's got all these problems. And then, you know, in Avengers, he sees all of the, you know, this alien armada, and now he has to deal with like his entire worldview being shaken. And in the third film, you know, that with Shane Black, he's got, you know, the PTSD, which I think is really interesting. And he's like having panic attacks. And by the time you hit Endgame, I think it's not until he has a daughter that he's really like, I want to make this work, because everything else seems like he has already decided he's a dead man walking and he's on this suicide mission, you know, and it's not until Endgame when he has a daughter and he has something to live for that he really wants to stay alive. But at the end, he still makes the choice to sacrifice himself. So I think it's a really beautiful character arc. Obviously, Robert Downey Jr. knocked it out of the park. He redefined this character. Even in the comics, people now try to write it as if it's Robert Downey Jr. because it just became so iconic. And I think that's one of the things that actually works. You know, I don't often like when they try to grab things from the movies and put them into the comic books, because I, you know, want the comic books to be the comic books. And but I think that, you know, that little extra spice of Robert Downey Jr. really even adds to the comic books when you get, on the rare occasion, you get a writer writing Iron Man who is a good writer.
And I would argue still has the best film in the MCU. I think Iron Man may be the best film.
If it weren't for that pesky third act, I'd agree with you.
Okay, that's fair. I think the only ones that beat it are Captain America, Winter Soldier, and Infinity War. And I think those are the only ones that might beat it out. But
whether it's the best or not, it is the foundation of the entire MCU. So you know, I think it gets its rightful place up there.
And the best thing about when it came out is nobody expected it to be as good as it was.
Yeah.
Like nobody.
Yeah. It's funny because I've been rewatching, you know, Mahler and the guys over on EFAP. I've been rewatching their stuff on Book of Boba Fett and Mandalorian Season 3 and Obi-Wan Kenobi. And all of these are written by Jon Favreau. And then you also look at Lion King 2019, also made by Jon Favreau. And I'm going, okay, was Iron Man written by someone else? Because there's been a lot, there have been a lot of misses and not a lot of hits recently. So I don't know, but just
I don't think you can blame him for Book of Boba Fett. I think most of that falls at Robert Rodriguez's feet, and whatever interference came from Kathleen Kennedy.
From Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah, apparently he was, although there's been a lot of rumors about how it's not the show that he wanted to make. I do think Mandalorian season 3 was hot garbage. I don't know, there's a lot of questions. Like I enjoyed Jungle Book, didn't care for Lion King.
Yeah.
Iron Man obviously is great. Chef is a great movie. Swingers is a great movie.
Swingers is brilliant.
I think when Jon Favreau is not interfered with, I think that he can deliver a really good story.
Maybe that might be it.
I would also say keep in mind that Favreau was only directing Iron Man. So the two main writers for Iron Man, the movie was Fergus and Ostby, who did Children of Men, which is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, that's a fantastic.
So you had
Owen Wilson, or not Owen Wilson, Clive Owen, yeah.
Owen Wilson, that'd be a very different movie.
He's like, wow,
all the babies we're not having any babies. Wow,
post-apocalyptic world.
Wow, that guy just shot Julianne Moore in the throat.
No children.
Yes, Clive Owen.
On, guys?
Who is
talking with my little mouth. Look at how my mouth is.
Clive Owen, who is one of the better actors in Hollywood,
but
and has
poisoned somehow. Nothing he's in ever did well. And he's so good. Like he was good in Sin City. He's good in Shoot 'Em Up, which is ridiculous. But
he's surprisingly really good in King Arthur as well, the early 2000s film. But with Ray Stevenson, R.I.P. Ray Stevenson.
In Sin City, he was really good in Sin City too.
Yep.
Really, yeah. And that film still holds up in terms of a comic book movie. Aaron, do you have a number 3?
I do. Rocket Raccoon.
Hey, there he is. Now we're talking. I couldn't decide. I didn't know which one I like better. Which one do you like better, Aaron?
I like the one where he's not the open mouth. I like the grim.
Okay,
ready
all right.
Ready to what's the let's all. I just think Rocket had an amazing arc through the films. Even in the first one, where he had so much humanity. He was injected with so much character, even though it was an ensemble piece. Even in that first film, where he's drunk and he's yelling, "You all think I'm a thing," and it's like, and he has this complete breakdown, and it really lent itself to oh my god, I feel so bad for this little character. And then the thing that was like an amazing contrast for me is because Guardians came out same year, I think, as Man of Steel. And at the end, where Rocket is talking to Peter Safanowitz's character, who's one of the Nova Corps, and Rocket's trying to help them keep it together to protect the civilians. I was like, this little thug raccoon is doing more to protect innocent people than Superman in Zack Snyder's Man of Steel. This is not right. And so from there all the way up until and then the development he gets in Guardians 2, and you knew the third film was going to be about him, and we were all worried he was going to die because of the way the camera swings around when they're playing father and son, during Yondu's funeral. And the last shot of the movie is Rocket's face. And then the third film is all about Rocket. I think he just has a spectacular arc. He goes from trying to be a character that doesn't feel anything because he's been hurt so badly to really becoming the heart and soul of the team and eventually leading them. So I think Rocket is fantastic.
I'm a grown man, but I had something in my eye in Guardians 1 when Groot begins to encase everyone in the thing, and Rocket goes, "Groot, no, you're gonna die," or he says something to that extent. And I definitely had something in my eye during that moment in the film.
And then Groot says, "We are Groot." Yeah.
Oh, stop. Okay, we go to the next character. Who's the next character?
So number 4 is going to be a toss-up between, let's see. It's got to either be Cassie Lang or... No.
I know we're a bunch of fucking losers and rejects, but let's go, guys. We got this.
Is it going to be Cassie Lang or America Chavez or... so tough.
Who else is really insufferable? Yeah.
My number 4, and it's not going to surprise you guys because basically you get the Trinity in my top 4, is going to be Thor. specifically up into Infinity War.
Okay.
When they have the moment where he's sitting there with, and it's a great scene between him and Rocket, who's my number 3. When they're sitting there and Thor's talking about how he's going to defeat Thanos, and Rocket says, he's like, he's never beaten me, and he's like, yeah, he has. And he's like, well, he's never beaten me twice. And Thor goes through his whole thing, and his whole speech about him, 1,500 years old, and everybody that's ever come up, like that wanted me dead, has died at my hand, and he goes through that whole thing, and then Rocket asks him, "What if you're wrong?" And Chris Hemsworth, it's so perfect the way he delivers it, and it just rips my heart out. He goes, "Well, what do I have left to lose?" Because everything has been taken from him. His mother is dead. His father is dead. Asgard is gone. Loki is dead. Heimdall is dead. The Warriors 3 are dead, even though Taika Waititi never bothered to give us a reaction to that. There's nobody in the Avengers movies leading up to Endgame who has lost more than Thor. And, it's like, yeah, Wanda's lost a lot too, but nobody's lost more than Thor.
Yeah, he lost his entire home, his planet too.
Yeah, and the fact that, just everything he goes through to try to get Stormbreaker, and then when he shows up on the battlefield in Endgame, to this day, I still get chills when the lightning hits and Thor's standing there on the battlefield, and he just does the "Bring me Thanos" and goes up into the air, and all the electricity. Just this shot right here, chills every single time. God, remember when these movies were good?
It may be my favorite scene in the MCU, which is a bold statement. I know, because there are so many great ones, but it truly is the full realization of the hero's journey when Thor smacks that hammer down. It's incredible, the amount of impact and power of over a decade that we've watched this man struggle. It's something I can't explain, but you know it when you see it. So
and I will say too, I've met Chris Hemsworth.
Oh wow!
Just could not be a nicer guy. Like, he's so down to earth, and he's so kind of unaffected, and just this you feel like any minute he's going to be like, "Hey, you want to just grab some beers and let's go deep sea fishing." The next thing you're going to be on a boat.
Arm wrestle.
On a boat with Thor. How did this even happen? Yeah. He's just so warm and welcoming, and it's nice to see. Because he's such a contrast from Mark Ruffalo, who's such a stuffed shirt. It's and then on Twitter it's just because I've met Mark Ruffalo too, just an absolute stuffed shirt, and then on Twitter it's just absolutely insufferable. So it's nice to see that there's guys like Chris Hemsworth out there.
What's really cool about Chris too is that even though most people see him as the muscle-bound jock, he's actually probably one of the better actors in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He has such a wide range from funny. He's actually really funny, to then very dark, depressing, and sad. He's able to emote perfectly to the action hero. He can play every one of these very, very well. So he has a pretty wide range. So
I'd say
at
least a quarter of his body weight is gravitas.
Just charisma alone, dude. Yeah, this guy is just he eludes that. But the only thing I'm upset about is that we were robbed of a television show or a movie of the adventures of Thor and Rocket. I would spend all my monies. I would have a statue of it. I wish that we could have seen that timeline, right, of Thor and Rocket. But
you wish that Taika Waititi hadn't just jettisoned it immediately in the terrible Love and Thunder movie to give us more Korg.
Oh no! Oh, hello everyone. This is my self-insert Korg. Drew, my man, close us out here. Who are your four? I think you're gonna give us super obscure ones, and we'll be like,
I got a couple. I got a couple. I'm gonna throw you off maybe. But the first one, we're gonna be the hat trick. Steve Rogers, Captain America. Yeah, obviously that's the number one. And the one. I know he's had a lot of great scenes, a lot of great lines, but the one that sticks with me the most, the one I love the most from Joss Whedon, is in the first Avengers movie. It's when he first encounters Loki. And he says, "Last time I was in Germany and saw a man standing above everyone else, we ended up disagreeing." It's I fucking love that line.
Oh,
and
so good.
Yeah.
Even
And
though the
you start-
setup for it with the old Jewish man, like as soon as you see him, you're like,
Yeah.
"I know exactly what's gonna.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
gonna set up. He's like, there are always men like you, and I'm like, this is cringe. And then Cap does his bit. It's, and you know, it's funny because it's like it's a cringe moment because it's so obviously ham-fisted in there. But the performance of both Tom Hiddleston and then Chris Evans absolutely makes it work.
Yes, the man out of time. Just calls him after that. I love it. It just feels like a comic book brought to life in the way they're talking to each other. I love it.
And then in the background, you hear "Shoot to Thrill," AC/DC, and Iron Man swoops in. You're like, "Oh, this is awesome!"
Is that the last time that we got AC/DC with Iron Man?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
yep.
Wow,
is it really? Okay.
Yeah, I really think that it lost something by and the fact that he never recommended that Thor, like play Thunderstruck as he comes down.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
It's like, hey, look, I burned this CD for you.
Yeah.
Remember burning CDs?
Yes.
Hey, Aaron, let me make you a mixtape for the
Yeah,
road.
a mixtape.
Let me go to LimeWire, get this for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, computer crashed. Oops.
And my computer and my mom's computer is gone.
Okay, it's gonna take 5.5 hours to download the song. What do you want to do while it's doing that?
Did you ever? There used to be an old Red and Blue that was just showing you like what life was on the internet, and it shows they would use the Spartans from Halo. They would do their little videos, and they're different colored Spartans standing in a room, and one of them goes, "Hey, does anyone have the new Creed CD?" And then someone goes, I have the new Creed CD. And he's like, give it to me. And he's like, no, that's stealing. And he's like, it's not stealing. You're not giving it to me. Give it to me faster. And he's like, no, man, that's theft. And he's like, it's not theft. I don't want it to be theft. Therefore, it's not. And then just somebody random in the back like turns and goes, Creed sucks. I hate you. And I hate the things you like. And I was like, yep, that's the internet.
Sounds about right. Zach says, does it make it weird that Cap was always Hydra?
God damn it.
Zax, we don't talk about the dark times in comics, all right? We're talking about the good old days. The good old days.
Yep, can't forget the real Captain America is still locked up in prison, right now, and that's just
and none of that ever happened because the 616 ended at the end of Jonathan Hickman's Secret Wars, and everything that we've gotten since then has just been a bad dream.
Yes.
We're in the fanfic universe now where people shit on you.
Oh, God.
Yes. We woke up and saw Patrick Duffy in the shower. Yes.
The train scene in Infinity War. Remind me that.
So it's when Proxima Midnight and Corvus Glaive go after Vision and Wanda. Yeah. And then like Wanda and Vision start to lose that fight, and then Cap shows up.
Yeah, so looks like he has the beard.
Yeah,
like Nomad.
Proxima Midnight senses something, and a train passes, and then when it's gone, you just see the
shadow,
of Captain America,
right.
And then he steps out. Yeah, it's like the moment in Jeff Johns' Avengers book when the red dust of death is spreading through the town, and everybody's dying, and that little kid is like lost his parents, and he's crying, and he's like, I just want to go home, and you just see Cap's red glove come down, and he goes, don't worry, son. You turn the page and he's holding the kid and he's like, we're gonna get you home. It's like know everything, like it's that moment where you know everything's good. That scene also bothers me because Black Widow should, no matter how many hits she lands on Corvus Glaive, should not even move him. And she's breaking her hands every time she hits him. Like the power levels, like when they forget what the power levels are. Like for example, when Jane Foster slaps Loki, his head should not turn. He's an Asgardian.
Yeah.
Like she should break every bone in her hand. And they forget that stuff, which always drives me nuts. But can we just give it up to Proxima Midnight too? Because she is so cool in Infinity War.
Yeah.
Like she's got some great lines, like when she, the Black Panther says that gives her the line about blood, and she goes, "We have blood to spare." Like it's just so like cold, and then I also love Corvus Glaive when he gives his little, "I thought you formidable machine, but you die like any man." It's like they didn't have a lot of moments, but the moments that they did have were good.
Yeah, and I do like their design, like their concept design. It wasn't just generic Steppenwolf from Justice League, like CGI animated character, Evil Man.
Like Joss Whedon's, he's especially like, I'm PS1 cutscene man.
PS1 cutscene man.
I wish we would have actually gotten. I wish we would have gotten more of the Black Order, because I do think they're pretty cool characters. And Proxima Midnight, her staff, like the power of her staff, holds the energy of a star. So I wish we would have seen her just like
Oh.
blast the shit out of Thor or something. But
I would have liked
Yeah.
to have seen Supergiant in there too.
yeah, that too.
It's weird that they called Black Dwarf Cull Obsidian,
Yep.
which is the name of the entire group, not him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a cool name, but like that's not his name.
Yeah.
Drew, who's your number dos?
Once again, number 2, Tony Stank, Iron Man. Just he had
Stank.
Tony Stank. You want to talk about the character? I mean, who had so many character arcs throughout the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Mhm.
Just
Yeah.
let alone the first film. But the one thing I didn't like is how he was pretty much responsible for every single villain in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, another one. Oh, geez. But yeah, it just his Robert Downey Jr. It just, you want to talk about it, I can remember, when all the new news boards came out, like Robert Downey Jr. cast as Iron Man, everyone's freaking out, panicking. Whereas me, I'm thinking, knowing the lore of Iron Man, I'm like, this is the perfect guy who has gone through, the substance abuse issues. This is the perfect guy to play Tony Stark.
Yeah, I was on
yeah.
board with him. I was on the board with him immediately. Like on board
Same.
with him as Iron Man immediately. I was like,
Yeah,
this is actually really good casting.
Yeah,
So
100%. Yeah, and I love the first Iron Man film. I do like the second Iron Man film, and actually that leads into my number 3 character is Justin Hammer,
Ooh.
Sam Rockwell. I do.
Yes.
Whoa! What?
Dark Horse.
Yes, I love Sam Rockwell in that film. Every time I watch a second film, I am laughing my ass off with him as the character. He's the Tony Stark taking the shortcuts to what Tony Stark did. Just didn't work hard for it. He has other people doing the work for him.
I do wish he was a little more formidable.
Yeah.
They do play him as a little bit too much of a goofball, and I was like, you could have had like his performance and the dancing, everything, all the Sam Rockwell is.
Yes.
But just had him be a little bit more competent because he's very much an example of what Tony Stark could have been if he'd never had that situation in the desert, if he'd never experienced that. This is basically like who Tony Stark is. And Josh, didn't he, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't he audition for Tony Stark? Wasn't he considered for it?
Really?
He may have. I'd have to double check that.
But
I want
that
my
scene,
bird.
that scene you have pulled up when he's going through the weapons I love that scene.
I call this the Widowmaker.
Yeah.
Puff the Magic Dragon, Uncle Gazpacho.
Second best thing
Or the
McDonald's make
ex-wife
besides the
or
waffles. Yeah.
Whatever it was called, yeah.
And I always
Wow.
laugh when he loses it. I don't speak Russian.
And that scene in the Senate subcommittee, he's like, I want everyone to know that the pilot is fine. All right, just let everyone know.
Oh yeah, okay. He does have a great delivery. The delivery of his lines is like perfect.
Him and RDJ are perfect off one another. I love it.
When they he's a character that I wish would come back.
Yes.
Obviously not in the modern Marvel universe because I don't think they do him justice anymore.
No.
But yeah, just I love him. He's so great. When they cast him as Zaphod Beeblebrox in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which is one of my favorite book series, I was like, oh, that's perfect. That's so perfect. And unfortunately, the budget kind of let the film down, but it's still a really good version of the books. And he just does such a spectacular job. The way that he's like kind of disaffected, and his performance actually informs how I write one of the characters in Doomface.
Ooh,
Yeah, so
nice.
his performance in Hitchhiker's Guide is very much how I write one of the characters. So.
Well, good call then, Drew, on your number 3. In a million years, I would never have guessed this would be.
Nope.
It's like he said, like he should have had more screen time in more films. Obviously, I would have been great. But like his performance in Iron Man 2. I don't want to say he steals the show, but every scene he's in is enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
Every scene is enjoyable.
He steals every scene he's in, and he's got so much charisma every time he comes on screen that he just like if there is no energy, he brings the energy. So I fully agree with that pick.
I love this.
Mike, Cap number 1, side character Black Panther, and prior to Captain Marvel, Nick Cage is my number 3.
I'm gonna guess you mean Nick Fury because Although,
that's
you know
what.
what the glory of Nicolas Cage might actually transcend. You're like, no, he's my number 3 character. It's like, but he's not in the MCU. It doesn't matter. It's Nicolas Cage, bitch.
Yeah, I just Nick Cage transcends all characters, so it's
he's
just
now on a DC Comics variant coming out in a month or so for Batman Superman.
I saw that. Dominic says Justin Hammer should have been portrayed seriously as a competent advisor for Tony, like in the books. However, the lines from him were memorable. Interesting.
Adversary.
Okay.
Adversary,
You said.
Oh, sorry. Did I? Oh, sorry. Adversary. My bad. Thank you.
I will say too, like if you had competent writers in Marvel, still you could bring him. I mean, like he's already supposed to be returning in Armor Wars, but that was before they switched it from TV series to movie.
Who cares?
But, yeah,
good call.
But you could easily bring him back, and he could be formidable. And I think this is one of those fun formidable takes when it's like everyone thinks, oh, he's just a joke because he's an idiot, but then he proves like, yeah, I think I'm an idiot because I'm going to show you that I'm not. I like those
cool.
approaches.
If he was up against Tony Stark, I'd be interested. I have zero interest in Don Cheadle as a leading man.
Well, especially after freaking Secret Invasion. Jesus.
Yeah, because now he's just been a scroll the whole time.
I have a feeling they're going to retcon that statement, but
God, everything
really, really stupid.
It's
everything needs to be retconned.
Secret Invasion should just be taken off the service, like Willow was.
Yeah.
Remove it and never refer to it.
Get rid of this one.
Off the servers, never existed.
Yeah.
Hallucination. Anybody who says, "Remember Secret Invasion"? No.
No.
That it must be some Mandela effect thing that never happened.
Yeah. That would be a good topic for another stream. What film or TV show, if we could get rid of one that would change everything, which one would it be? But
Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel.
If you get rid of Captain Marvel, you don't ruin Nick Fury in the first place. Secret Invasion never happens.
Fair.
There's a cascading effect of things not,
Maybe.
She-Hulk you can ignore because it's stupid and it doesn't matter. You can actually ignore pretty much all of the Disney Plus stuff.
Multiverse of Madness, I think, damages multiple characters on multiple levels. I mean, it makes a joke out of not Trinity. What are they called? The Illuminati, whatever.
The Illuminati. Yeah.
And
Loki,
Doctor Strange calls him
Loki makes a joke out of every film that came before it by making the
Infinity
Stones.
That's true. Yeah, Loki might have been one that should just get wiped away altogether. Yeah.
And basically, everything after Endgame could go away.
Yeah.
And they should just do something else.
Yeah.
Like just say, "Hey guys, we're doing more MCU movies, and they take place after Endgame, and there was nothing after Endgame." Just discount all of that. Because let's be honest. I think they said that they're turning Armor Wars into a movie instead of a Disney Plus series.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Who's going to go see that? Who's going to go see Captain America and the Winter Soldier? Like, Captain America 4? Like, I have no interest because Captain America's not in it.
No, it is Captain America. It's actually, what's funny? Off topic. Well, it's still on topic. As I was doing research for the show, or as I was getting pictures for the show to, pull up while we were talking, I typed in Captain America MCU, and the first 4 searches on the image search were all Falcon Cap. It was not Steve Rogers Cap. If you go into Google and you type in MCU Captain America, it will be Falcon Cap right now.
We gotta fix that.
Yeah.
That's
Drew, you gotta
playing with the algorithm. That's like saying that. That's like saying that Miles Morales is Spider-Man. Miles Morales is Miles Morales. Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Miles Morales is a Spider-Man.
Yes, he is.
Spider-Man is Peter Parker.
He is the Spider-Man. For decades and decades, he's always been Spider-Man. Drew, who is your number 4? This was a doozy. I never would have seen this coming. So number 4, are you going to bring the heat again with someone I've never heard of?
I'm going to say Happy Hogan. I really liked this. I really enjoyed him in almost all the performances he was in all the films. He was always great, always consistent. And the one I will say, the one moment that got me to shed a tear was that it was in Endgame at the funeral.
Yeah.
When he's with Tony's daughter, and he's talking to her. Yeah, what do you want to get to eat? She's like, cheeseburgers, and just that. If you remember the first Iron Man film, you remember. And he was always there by Tony's side, and just always at Mr. Reliable. And
I think one of the best gifs I've seen of Jon Favreau and Happy Hogan in general was when Scarlett Johansson is walking down the hallway and he's just like looking and going, oh, you get the big side eye. But yeah, okay, all right, I see it. I think without Happy, Iron Man does not get to where he needs to be in a lot of circumstances. Happy is kind of his support throughout a lot of these films, so I can see that. Okay. Nice. I like it. Well, I will do mine real quick before we.
Oh, I got one more.
Sorry.
One last one is Luke Cage. I will say the guy who played Luke Cage, I thought he was terrific. And that first season of Luke Cage, I really, really enjoyed, especially the first several episodes. He should have gotten. There should have been more to do with him. I'll say that.
Okay. I don't think I ever watched the Luke Cage series, so I'd have to go back and rewatch it.
First 6 episodes of season 1, outstanding. It kind of falls apart a little bit after that. Season 2, I thought was really good. It had a good balance, and it brought in more of like the Heroes for Hire type vibe going on, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it more.
And I'm glad it's not one of those ones where it's like season 7 is really where it picks up. You just gotta, watch 1 through 6 and you'll be fine. And it's like, oh no.
I actually liked Defenders up until the point that we got Sigourney Weaver giving. We're not so different, you and I.
We're not so.
Oh God.
Like,
yeah.
But I liked the fact that they brought back Elektra and that she was resurrected and was serving the hand. I liked all that because I actually liked Elodie Young as Elektra, even though she wasn't a Greek woman.
Yeah,
I thought she was good.
I like the way she said Matthew. I don't know why, but
it was kind of sexy, right? Like,
yeah,
when she says Matthew. You were like, I kind of get why this guy's like, Dreamweaver.
Yeah, like you're 100% like, dude, she's a crazy bitch. Well, you're also like, I totally get it, and that's not easy to pull off.
Yeah, so you watch her in season 2 of Daredevil, you don't know if she's going to screw you or kill you. It's great.
Yeah. The entire time, you're like, what?
Yeah.
But you're like
but if she kills you, you're like, what a way to go.
Yeah, you're literally like, honestly, I take the risk. Okay, I'll take the risk.
It's like Giaris in Born of Blood, in issue 2. It's love it.
Oh yeah, issue 2. I still can't get over that issue 2. Whew, spicy. All right, so I will just really quick rattle off my. Since Drew got a 5th one,
Drew did 4.
No, he said Luke Cage was his 5th.
He said if he had a 5th, he'd have Luke Cage.
Yeah. So I'm gonna do 5th just because it's my host, my rules, whatever. But yeah, no, Captain America. I think he's been on all of our lists, and he's also on mine as well. I think one of the best scenes is in the first Avenger, and what's his name dies. He gets shot, right?
Olsen.
And he gets stabbed, yeah. And Captain America Steve Rogers goes over to him to see if he's all right. And all he does is he just pokes him in the heart because of that talk that he had previously to him. And he's like, it's what makes a man is his heart. And I'm obviously ad-libbing and abbreviating the actual speech, but that moment where you're just like, this is who Cap is right here.
Are you saying Captain America or the Avengers?
Oh, he's talking about Captain America, Dr. Reinstein or Dr. Erskine, whatever.
Yeah. We're talking about Captain America. The first
Avenger.
Stanley Tucci.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought you said the Avengers, and I was like, wait, what? That was in Captain America.
Oh, my fault. Yeah. So great scene, and I echo all of your sentiments. I think what Cap stands for is bigger than all of us, and I think that's the coolest thing.
That's why nobody who's written the comics in the last decade, maybe longer, has delivered a good comic because they don't understand. They all try to make Captain America small.
Yep.
They all try and make him small, and they all try and make him hate what America is, which Cap knows that there are things broken within the country, and yet he still stands for hope and justice and opportunity, life, liberty, and happiness. Like he is in the pursuit of happiness. Like he is the embodiment of all that, even when the worst of America is on display.
How would a communist writer ever understand Captain America?
Exactly.
They'll never be able to.
Or a socialist writer, yeah. Mm-hmm. Daredevil, just because his tenacity and the fact that he just keeps coming back. In that first season of that show, he gets beat to shit. Like he is constantly bruised or battered or cut, and he just keeps going after it. So I love this, like Matt Murdock and this Daredevil, and I really like Charlie Cox's portrayal of Daredevil. And yeah, just I think the character in and of itself of Daredevil is just brilliant. Thor, like we said before, has lost everything that you could imagine, and it is like Josh, you were talking about earlier, the tragic character. You like a tragic character. There is no more tragic character than Thor, other than Rocket, which is my fourth, because I think Rocket has also had one of those awfully tragic, which is why I think a show with the two of them, Rocket and Thor, would have been perfect to really, really delve into a character study of these two. And if I did a fifth, I'd probably say Star-Lord, because in the second film, when Ego is telling him about putting the cancer in his mom's head or something, and he just flips and he goes, "What, you killed my mom, or what did you do to my mom?" or something like that, and just goes nuts. I think it was really cool. However, we never did anything with his godlike powers after that. So
because when Ego died, when Ego died, that was the end of it. Like,
that was it. Okay.
Yeah, they say that in the movie, that like Ego tells him, like, if you destroy me, if you allow me to die, you'll be just like everyone else. And then Peter has that great line where he says, "Well, what's so wrong with that?"
There you go.
It's just like,
see,
it's beautiful.
Even more reason to like him. So that would be my fifth if I did get a chance to have a fifth.
Can I name a character that not necessarily my fifth, maybe high up, but not necessarily my fifth, but just a character that I like so much more in the movies than I ever did in the comics?
Kate Bishop
is Mantis. Who did you say, Josh?
True portrayal.
I said Kate Bishop.
Actually,
but she's so much better in the
I mean,
show.
I guess you're not
Mantis
wrong,
too.
True. Haley Steinfeld gives Kate Bishop
I love her as an actress.
likability that they've never. She's so good in True Grit.
Yeah.
Just like her first big role, and she just like kills it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, she definitely made Kate Bishop a lot more likable. But I never clicked with Mantis in the comic books. The whole Celestial Madonna thing, like, never interested in me. Like, I just always thought it was really kind of like weird, and I thought she kind of had a dumb design, and I just never connected with her. And I like her so much in the movies. I think the way Pom plays her is adorable, but she also has, she has gravitas. She has her own things going on, her own pain. I just think that James Gunn did a really good job with her. He's really good at writing like misfit characters. Yeah. And so yeah, Mantis is a big one for me.
I still need to watch the third iteration of Guardians because I think she has a bigger role in that film to play. And
the Christmas special is really good.
Yeah, that too.
Oh yeah. Oh, I have more homework. Never mind. No, I'm kidding.
I like that Rocket's made your list, but you haven't even seen the third film.
And yet that's how good of a character he is, because I haven't even seen the third film, and that kind of, I know you said, was almost the arc that he needed to finalize his story. And yet even without that, I still think Rocket is one of the better. And who would have thought that this furry raccoon, talking raccoon in a random superhero film, sci-fi movie, would have been one of the best characters in the MCU. That's pretty badass. So,
and Bradley Cooper deserves so much credit for coming in and bringing so much personality to that too, because so much of it is just the voice and how he approaches the character, and like the accent that he chose to put with Rocket, which doesn't fit but completely fits.
Yeah.
Whenever I hear I'd be playing like Marvel Capcom, and they have like the British accent Rocket, or they've got like like a cartoon voice or things like that, and I'm like, it doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me. Like because Bradley Cooper did come in, he just nailed it. Like, he could have just come in and just lazily been Bradley Cooper, like so many big celebs do when they come in and they do a voice for a character, and they just do their own voice. No big deal. I love the fact that he infused the character with a personality and a perspective, and just everything that like the voice just informs it.
When Rocket laughs and he goes, gah, like really gives like a belly laugh, you can tell Bradley Cooper's having a fun time. You know what I mean? Like, he is just giving that character everything he's got. And yeah, so it Rocket is a perfect example of what happens when you get great writers, an actor who cares about the character, and films who want to give him an arc, and you get something like Rocket. And the even cooler thing is that he's CGI, and yet we resonate with him. I think Aaron and I both had him on our list. Like, That's wild. What a novel concept that I resonated with a 2'5" raccoon and not a 6'1" bald white guy. You know what I mean? Like that I have to see myself.
It's almost like when
in
characters are infused with character and they have an inherent humanity to them, we can identify them no matter with them, no matter what they look like.
What a novel concept. Yeah.
Whoa.
I love it.
Whoa.
As Drew would say.
Whoa,
indeed. Whoa.
You say, I don't have to be a garbage panda to understand them.
A garbage panda.
Garbage panda.
It's worse. It's so much worse.
Well,
God, you guys made me like think about how much I loved those first 10 years of the MCU.
Yep.
Like
now I'm thinking about like going to rewatch. Like I watched Thor, the first Thor film, and to me it holds up more so than more recent films or shows or whatnot. But like that first Thor film and that first Captain America film, I like a lot. They go hard.
Hey, look, I'm going to throw this out there. Max, you know this because I'd send it to you. One of the shows that we're going to do on Pop by Culture is Marvelous Monday, and it's going to basically be revisiting the MCU. And I haven't pulled a panel for that, but if you guys want to go through that and revisit it and then discuss these movies, you know, with the fun stuff, the good stuff, it could be worth it. So
I could definitely be up for that.
Yeah, you know, talk about what we like, and there's going to be like a sister show to it that I'm for sure using Joe for, but it's going to be called Print Screen, and it's going to discuss the comics that influenced the movies, and then what we liked / disliked between like, you know, what do we like that they changed in the movie, and what do we wish they would have kept in the movie. So it's going to be a fun little series.
That's really good. I like that a lot, and that's tough to really pinpoint the differentiation or the similarities between the comics and the films and what we liked and disliked, because so much of that, you know, you get glimpses of it, but a lot of the times it's completely altered, or it's like Captain America Civil War is nothing like Mark Miller's Civil War.
No.
So yeah, this is kind of interesting. Mike has bad knees. I acknowledge the Star-Lord and Rocket picks, but the Guardians of the Galaxy being popular ruined the MCU. I don't think that it being popular ruined the MCU. I think that the lessons learned from it being popular ruined the MCU, because having it being popular was actually great for, I think, a lot of people recognizing that this isn't just, you know, this isn't just about superheroes anymore. This is about like characters that we care for no matter who they are. But it was the jokey jokes and the, you know, hey, let's play this music because people know this song. Let's play Rolling Stones because everyone knows Rolling Stones.
Well, that
it
was
was
all
those
Captain
lessons
Marvel
learned.
was just like, you know, let's overdo that. It's in the 90s, so let's play every 90s song. Let's get some Chumbawamba in there. Gets knocked down, but she gets up again. You know,
the song for Aftershock Comics. Yeah.
And then like just a girl during the fight scene. It was just like, it felt like, okay, so I would disagree. I don't think that Guardians ruined the MCU. I think that Ragnarok ruined the MCU because that was the movie where they copied Guardians and they tried to do Guardians, and then everybody, like, kind of the Russos didn't, but like everybody after that, like, was kind of like trying to, like Ant-Man. You know, Guardians had its own identity. Even Ant-Man to an extent had its own identity. That first movie where it was like a heist movie, you know, you were doing kind of like different genres. But I think that once they realized that Chris Hemsworth could be funny, that started to ruin things, because, you know, obviously even Endgame is kind of like, it's kind of funny to see him fat, but it also takes away all of the good character building that you did in Infinity War, and and making him a joke, you know, just kind of like undercuts it. So I would say that that's probably where it started to fall apart. And then of course Phase 4 and Phase 5, where they were just casting directors based on, you know, surface traits as opposed to actual talent, was pretty much and writers as well. It's pretty much the death knell for the MCU.
And redeeming every single villain, turning them like into heroes effectively. And it just sometimes they're just villains who are just straight up bad. You just need to go down like a dog. But every villain seems now, besides Thanos, has been redeemed, you know, one way or another. And
not Whiplash. because he got turned to soup. He got turned to soup in that big metal can.
Yeah.
But they didn't really
go
the
ahead.
Red Skull though. He was still a bad guy.
Because he's a Nazi. Of course they can't
Yeah,
be
of
a Nazi.
Well, I don't know in this day and age who. Yeah.
Well, they tried, but they tried not to. They tried not to make him a Nazi too. It's like they tried to like kind of have their cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
He's like,
oh,
we
no,
both know we couldn't grow anymore under Hitler's shadow. Like, it's like, oh, he's branching out and he's doing his own thing, and it's like, he's still a Nazi. He's still a
He's
still a horrible, horrible person. I don't know that. But they wanted to be able to market Hydra, but not have the Nazi association so much.
Right.
It's like I saw a really great shirt that had like the Hydra symbol and it had like the red skull on it, and I was like, "Oh, it's a really good design." And for a split second, I thought about buying it, and then I was like, "I don't really want to walk around with a shirt."
You're
with
like, yeah, I don't know if I can wear that.
like
Well, it's okay because Cap is Hydra, so it's all good.
right.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I have a Hydra shirt. So
Hey, look at you.
I've got a bunch of Hydra figures because I need somebody for Captain America to beat up.
right.
Hell yeah.
You have the Hydra Bob. Yeah.
Look, I'd buy a hate monger figure, and if you took the little hat off and it was Hitler underneath, I'd buy it. Not because I love Hitler, because I want Captain America to punch Hitler in the face.
Wasn't it supposed to be Nixon? Wasn't it supposed to be Nixon in the comics?
I think there might be some lore about that. See, this is where we need Joe, because Joe will come in and be like, yeah, I know lore from, 400 years before I was born.
True. Josh, were you about to say something? Sorry.
Yeah. So the only thing I was going to say is, this conversation you said, my post inspired this. I was going to preface this with, I plan on having a part 2 and part 3, because I found myself, I found myself while pulling the list together going Iron Man, Thor, and Cap, and I was like, I just feel like this is the give me answer. So I wanted to purposely break it up, and I guess I'll tease this with you might see a character from Iron Fist on my list.
Is it going to be Jessica Henwick?
No.
Oh, okay, because I thought she was pretty good in that role.
She was pretty good.
Oh, you know
Is
what?
it the Dragon Kunlun?
No.
Is it one of the? Is it like the brother and sister?
Nope.
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 Like who else was in Iron Fist?
Well, if we're talking about the comics, Sabretooth was in
Nope, we're not talking about the comics. We're talking about the Netflix show.
Iron Fist 14, which
I'll just say there's a character in season 2 of Iron Fist that I thought they did something really, really interesting with, and they teased development for a future season to really kind of just like, I guess, blow the ceiling off the character, and then we aren't getting it.
Oh, blow the ceiling? Is it the Rand Corporation building? Is that what you mean by that?
Oh yeah,
No.
the building.
It's the little dude, right? The little short dude that was fighting with him. That was supposed
No,
to be
Davos was fine. Like, he was all right.
Yeah, except he was like 4'3".
Yeah, exactly.
Very tiny.
Well, yeah, Mike has bad knees. What you're saying, I completely agree with. Like when you brought up, Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff, I definitely agree that there was that kind of downward trend once they started taking these bad lessons. But I agree with Aaron in that Ragnarok was really the first iteration of where we saw like, oh no, like these are not the films we signed up for anymore.
Right.
And from then on, it was joke after joke after, hey, infinity cones, right, guys? Because
Thanks
it's
for
like,
reminding
hey,
me. Thanks.
yeah.
So it's so funny how like all these people vanished, and it's called, and everybody had the pain of losing loved ones for 5 years, and then now everybody's back, and we hinted at all these problems with people being back and having to find housing for them, and it's this worldwide catastrophe. But infinity cones,
dude, that like, it. Yeah, and I don't mean to get too dark, but to appropriately say how absolutely nonsensical that is, it would be like if we had an ice cream shop about 9/11. You know what I mean? Like that would be the equivalency.
Or a Benny Hanna's down at Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Hey, Holocaust hotcakes, come in and get your pancakes.
Yeah. Like that's the level of like just degeneracy with this writing that we were getting from some of those films. So yeah, Mike, you bring up a good point though. It is kind of that where was it? What was it about some of these films that really started to find that humorous quality that took it too far? But Well, I think we can end there, guys. I had a couple other topics, but honestly, I don't even want to discuss those because this was way more fun, and I had such a great time, and this was such a good character study about some of the things that we love. That this was a lot of great stuff for the 50th episode of Max's Man Cave. I would not have wanted to spend it any other way. So thank you guys for being here. Before we dip out, do you guys have anything that you want to plug? Anything coming up, or anything you want to say before we head out? Aaron, I'll start with you, and we'll go down Josh and then Drew.
I love you.
Oh, I love you too. I love you 3,000, 4,000. What was it?
I love you 3,000.
I love
3,000?
Andre 3,000. How about that?
Oh,
Shake.
No, Power Man 5,000. That's how much I love you.
yeah. Yeah.
Get up. Drop the bombshell.
Wasn't Power Man 5,000 on the Blade soundtrack or something like that?
I think it might have been. Did you know it's like I heard that he's Rob Zombie's brother, and I was like, is that true?
Yeah, yes. I heard brother or cousin. Yeah, he's like a relative of his. Yeah.
That's
I
crazy.
wouldn't be surprised. Well, I love you too. Thank you for being here.
That's all I got.
Love it.
Oh, you know what? I do have one last thing to say.
Oh,
you know what
yeah.
movie Guardians did ruin? The Last Jedi. Because when that movie opened and they started with the Yo Mama jokes, I was like, oh my God, Ryan Johnson's trying to make Star Wars Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh
I was
my
like,
God.
oh my God. Yeah, and it's like a whole like holding joke, and then like, oh, I'm holding for your mother. And it was just like, oh my God, what are you doing?
That is a film I have not seen and never planned to see in my life. So I
Never
had
seen
no
it.
idea.
Never
Wow.
watch the sequels. You can watch Rogue One, but other than that, don't watch any of the Disney stuff.
You know, surprisingly, I kind of want to watch Andor. I
I've
heard good
about
things,
Andor. Well,
and
if you like Rogue One, then Andor, follow up.
Yeah.
I could actually probably be convinced to watch Andor.
That's fair.
But the problem is that so much of what they've done with Star Wars has made me hate Star Wars. I can't even watch the original trilogy anymore. And that was why this conversation was kind of nice, because you kind of like reawakened my love of those original 10 years of the MCU movies. But I don't know if it's possible to do with Star Wars, because they hurt me so bad.
I'm sorry. We're here for you. We are Groot. We are Max's Man
At
Cave.
least you can just dismiss Rings of Power, and there's no way that it can taint.
Yeah, you can laugh. Like Tolkien fans round the world laugh at that shit and go, "This is not good." You know what I mean? So at least there was a huge backlash, and people were like,
"It's the book that Tolkien never wrote," and you're like, there's a reason for it."
Exactly. The hubris that you think that you are writing the book that Tolkien never wrote, just absolute absurdity. So yeah, it's like watching little kids trying to put on a play, and you're just going, "That's so sweet." You know.
Aww.
It's time for bed now, though.
Look,
like
Bronwyn's talking again.
Totes Dorbs.
Yeah. Totes Dorbs. Josh, you got Pop by Culture on Tuesday night, yeah?
Pop by Culture Tuesday night. We're gonna have Drew on to give his top 5 comics for the month of August. So we'll kind of go through that. I'll probably give a more detailed rundown of the writer strike and what was presented and rejected and all that jazz. Just for some awareness around that, and then we'll see whatever kind of crazy shit happens involving comics or film or TV between now and then, because they like to drop stuff on Mondays and Tuesdays, and I'm like, shit. Other than that, I was gonna say Thursday I'll be in Roman's channel because we're covering Ahsoka.
Oh, nice.
And I'm not a big Star Wars person, so I get to come in just kind of as the generic TV movie watcher to kind of discuss.
You're gonna have no idea what's happening.
I mean, like, I was literally asking questions, being like, so what? Who is this character to this? Why is this? And I had people explaining it to me, and then I just kind of got to discuss, I guess, film, just technical aspects of film that I liked or disliked about the show. And again,
at least there's that.
Yeah. Again, if you liked this MCU discussion and you kind of were reminded of stuff that was good and makes you want to revisit it, like I said, I've got a tweet on my page, and with the characters, I'm putting little like edited videos that people have done of these characters. They kind of highlight some of their bigger and better moments. And it's a nice little like watch. So if you don't feel like watching multiple films, you can go watch this like 5 to 10 minute video for each character, and it's a nice little Like, oh man, those were the good old days.
Mhm.
And then I'll have phase 2 and phase 3 come through, I guess, or part 2, part 3. I don't want to say phase. It sounds like the freaking
Yeah. I did like those videos that you posted. Those are really cool because there's a guy on YouTube who does that with Lord of the Rings characters, and he does that for Boromir, Aragorn, Samwise, and he does it for each one. But each title isn't just Aragorn, son of Arathorn. It's like the King Returns, you know, or for Boromir, it's like the noble death or something like they're all titled something really cool. Oh, it's so heavy. And yeah, because these people on YouTube put together the best clips that show you the through line through each one of these characters, and they're really well done. So and cheers to you, Ben. Thank you for being here, brother. And here is to the next 50. Can't wait till we get to 100. Drew, you've got comics and shows and all kinds of great stuff coming up. What do you got? What do you want to share tonight before we head out?
Yeah, so I'll be Tuesday. I'll be on stream with this guy, Josh
Yeah,
McDonald.
that's right.
Got to talk about
Cool.
the top 5 of the month of August, and wasn't too hard, but
Yeah, right. It's kind of like, yeah. Can you get to 5 of the month? Like, oh, cool.
yeah. Spoiler alert. Yeah, one of them is Batman, Superman. Yeah, but
yeah.
And stay tuned next month or so. Hopefully, I'll have an announcement, maybe 2. I'll be able to make some stuff to show. I'm still checking in with some people to see if I can say anything yet, and that's all. Nope, not yet. So.
Oh, dang. All right. Well,
It's
we look
just
forward
not
to
on.
Good stuff coming.
Yes.
Yeah, it's upsetting me. It's just it's my first time experiencing this. Where it's like, don't say anything yet, and it's like, oh my god.
I believe it was Kierkegaard, or perhaps it was Tom Petty, who said the waiting is the hardest part.
Well, yeah, I can't wait to see what you got coming out, brother. So thank you again for being here and hanging out with us, and we look forward to seeing you guys on Tuesday over on Josh's channel. So yeah, I look forward to watching that. I will be in class for the evening, but I will try and stop by in the chat during one of the breaks and come say hi. So, but speaking of chat, thank you guys for watching, whether you're watching live or whether you're watching the replay. Put y'all's favorite characters in the comments below, or some of your favorite scenes from the MCU. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. And thank you for 50 episodes of Max's Man Cave. That is so rad. It's such a cool milestone, and I'm very, very honored and very blessed that I've been able to do this with you guys for 50 episodes. So here's to, like Ben said, here's to 50 more, and we will see you guys next week when we do, I believe, the weekly. I'm gonna mute you. There we go. Yep.
Whoa,
Josh's mic
that
just.
That was bad.
I think Josh, your mic might have just died on us. So, Frank says, Josh, can you give us the link to your channel? I can see if I can throw that in there. Or Josh, you might be a moderator. I'm not sure. Grifter, thank you for being here as well. Take care, y'all. Congrats on 50. Thank you, Rachel. Frank, I will most likely, I'll see if I can send this to you, or if you type in "popped by culture," you can find it on YouTube. So
look at how handsome Frank's picture is.
I know, he looks so good.
He's like, "Hi, I'm Frank Senka."
Let me tell you about my comic.
That's right.
Yeah, I love it. All right. Well, thank you guys again for being here. We're gonna check on Josh's mic and make sure that everything's all good for Tuesday. Thank you guys again, and we'll see you all soon. Thanks.
Bye, everybody.